What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Reality Kingdom, where we put the real in reality or whatever.
Period. Are you a
I'm your
traitor?
Pharaoh. We're talking about what I'm a faithful, and
Because
I'm main.
fuck the introductions. We gotta get into it real quick. Are you a traitor or a faithful?
I'm 100%
What I want you
a
to do
faithful.
is
I feel like
pause before we vote tonight. I want you to look in each and every one of your
oh
fellow
god,
faithful's eyes and tell them, "I am a faithful."
I am a faithful. Busted out laughing. They would thought I was lying.
No, honestly, I thought about that too a little bit. If I was a traitor, I might get caught up. I feel like I would be too giddy. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be like, like if she made me do that, I may smile a little bit. Like I get fidgety, girl. I may bounce. I'm like, why is Lee? Why is he bouncing? That's a bit dodgy.
Moving, bit dodgy. And then you got to be like, well, actually, I saw Jasmine and Ebby and Charlie earlier.
You're not supposed to be like that because that's deflecting, girl. You're not supposed to deflect.
Exactly. That's the fucking issue. Why are you diverting? Why are you, what's it called?
Deflect.
Dodging.
Deflecting. Why are you so dodgy?
So dodgy.
That's my favorite.
Child, let's get into the motherfucking episode. Now, if you haven't seen them yet, go watch our episode 1 through 3 recap. Watch our episode 4 through 6 recap because we're starting now on episode 7. And at the beginning or the end of last
we're covering it all, girl.
We recalled that it was the task for the traitors to murder in plain sight using poison and a chalice. We left off and we saw Miles handing Diane the chalice. And starting this episode, we see that Diane actually drank from the chalice.
Diane. But guess what?
Bruv.
Guess what, girl?
What?
This
hey.
is not a fast-acting poison. It's not.
Girl.
It's not. So breakfast may be interesting. Which I think is a hilarious twist. I like this twist a lot. I hope this is like, as we see the traitors evolve, I feel like twists like is going to become more common. Like I really like the idea of like someone getting poisoned, they don't die immediately. It's really cute.
Yeah, it is. And it's a good way to give the faithfuls a little bit more ammo. Like Jasmine kept saying it all episode, even though she didn't really do anything with it. But Jasmine kept saying how this is like a great clue. Like this is hashtag the clue of the season. We need to hit.
They definitely ate it up more than the US girlies, because if you just watch episode 4 of the Traitors US, they wasn't sitting on nothing.
It might as well have been a regular murder. It might as well have been a regular murder, baby. I promise you. Like
this really got the girls on to Miles. No one thought it was poverty at all.
I forgot it was her. I forgot it was poverty. Who did?
That's literally her own Traitors didn't even know.
See, that's the thing. Maybe she just did it more slickly. Like, do we need to? Is it just Miles didn't do what he needs to do?
He was very obvious. Like, girl, he was like engaging in conversation.
Oh, I just don't want this bubbly. You want this bubbly? Are you?
It gave transactional. It gave transactional. And Diane, she's a handover. But also, too, if you notice, comparing it to the Traitors US, Poverty gave it to Ekin-Su. Who Ekin-Su, baby, she's in the clouds.
Yeah.
So, I can see the difference there too. Like he gave it to Diane. Diane is probably one of the more brilliant faithfuls in the bunch.
Mm-hmm. He should have gave it to who?
He should have gave it to a dummy bitch.
Loki,
a dummy bitch.
Loki should have gave it to Jasmine. She would have never knew.
Or like a Charlie or Evie.
I was thinking Charlie.
At the end of the day, it should have been someone
somebody who wasn't clocking tea.
Like a friend. It should have been someone who is his friend. Because if he gave it to someone who trusted him, they would have never guessed it was him.
Mm-hmm. Diane was a friend though. She said it later. She was like, I would hate if it was you or Evie because I trust both of y'all a lot.
That's the thing. She was just too smart. She's just
that girl. Don't ever try girl, child. So we're into breakfast and we see Ross and Diane are there first, mother and son. So they're able to chit chat a bit. Let me put up the images because these UK people, you don't know these UK people.
Right, it's dwindling now. Every time I'm taking notes, I have a picture in my photo gallery that I always click over to for reference because girl.
Because who is that?
I feel like I'm just now starting to like realize people by their face. It's been a minute though.
In the top 9. So Ross and Diane are there first, and they're able to chit chat because they know each other, of course. So she tells him that it's not giving it Zach. You need to get off this Zach bandwagon that you're on, Ross. It's not giving it Zach.
And honestly, I regret her telling him this.
You think because so? You want him to stay on
that? We need Zach up out of here. We need Zach up out of here, bad.
Oh my God.
That is.
But she was right.
By the end of episode 9, Zach is irritating the fuck out of me. I'm
so you would be one of the ones who either you're a traitor or you're a bad faithful. So you gotta go regardless.
You gotta go.
Zach would just have to go.
He just gotta go.
I see it.
Diane, his reads be so wrong. He questioning everybody, girl. He may hit me with a straight. He gotta go.
He wasn't right about not one person all season. No shade. Not even no shade. So Diane clocks that, or she has sus on Paul. Diane has sus on Paul. Everybody clock Paul though. No shade. Diane has sus on Paul. She lets Ross know, and they put that in their back pocket. Then we see Miles walk in. He's gagged because he sees Mother Diane sitting there happily. Harry walks in. He's gagged. He's like, wait, what's going on? I think my first thought would have been, Miles lied to me. That nigga lied. He didn't get that shit to he didn't get that shit to Diane. I would have thought he was lying because why is she here?
Did she not drink it? Like, what is happening?
We did it wrong. What was the rules again? Like,
right. Did we read it correctly?
All over the place. But they all end up in the room, and of course, no one is not here because Diane is right there in front of them. Claudia comes in, and she lets them know that one of them was poisoned, and we'll find out by the end of today's mission who is actually dead. Murdered. Boom. And Diane immediately was like, look. Diane started thinking.
She was like, I was kissed last night, and I thought, that was weird. And I was like, who, girl?
I don't remember.
I don't know. One of you bitches kissed me.
Somebody was putting their poisonous lips on me.
And then Zach immediately clocks. Okay, was anyone handed a drink? The girls went straight to a drink. And then here go Miles defending himself. Oh, we were all handing out drinks. We were all doing it. And it's like, girl, you look suspicious already. I was like, because Miles don't never buck up. And all of a sudden, we were all handing out drinks.
He was so
I was like, Miles is over. As soon as I saw this, I was like, girl, Miles is out of here. Miles is out of here, man.
He was so clearly nervous all episode. Like hands rubbing, speeds of sweat coming down his eyes and his whole forehead. I'm like, why are you so sweaty and nervous and scared?
It was all, to me, it was all over his face. Like you could tell. But I feel bad because he was not originally a fucking traitor in the first place. He was a faithful. So I feel like that has something to do with it as well. Like he was really thrown into it with these two backstabbing ass traitors. These gotta be the most devious traitors ever. Well, I don't know. Wilfred in season 1, Traitors UK, he was pretty. Wilfred, he was pretty cutthroat too. He literally cut all of the traitors, and then he didn't. So this is the team. So it started off with 3 traitors. He backstabbed both of them, and then he recruited this one dude. He backstabbed this dude, the last traitor, the one he recruited, at the final round table. And I can't remember what he said, but he said something that tipped the other 3 faithfuls off to thinking there has to be a traitor left. And it has to be Wilfred, because why would he say that? I can't remember exactly what he said, but I love that because, girl, that's me. I'm letting.
So that's like Ari should have did that with Sari instead of.
If he was so mad, instead of quitting and walking away.
Because it's the last round table. I'm a traitor. You a traitor. You don't end the game. Y'all vote me out. I could easily be like, well, what could I say? You got to be real slick to say some shit now.
I really want to know how far a traitor can go. Realistically, if I'm a traitor and I go home, can I go up there and say, Paul and Harry are also traitors? Bye. I feel like even if I can't say a name, I want to be very specific. Like if I was Miles, specifically Miles, right? I would have been like, I literally have a whole speech, bitch. I'm thinking I'm in the traitors. But like because I would have been like, I started the game out as a faithful, but I was recruited as a traitor. They were the gang. And then I would have been like, And unfortunately, I was backstabbed by two of my other traitors. Like, I would want to give them.
And you gonna say the name? You telling them the entire story?
Like, if they say I can't say a name, I want to at least say the amount.
You just gonna do
like,
that?
I want to give them an extreme hint. If I go out because them bitches turned on me, y'all are gonna know. And I don't understand why Ash and Miles, they went out very gracefully. Like, expose them in some way, but I'm wondering if that's a part of the rules. Can you not do that? And even if you can, how far can you go? But yeah,
I just be like, because on one of these episodes, one of the eliminations, I feel like I would just be like, you knew a lot of information, didn't you? You knew a lot of the information on what I knew, didn't you? Right. So I just want everyone to know when I go up there and announce what I am, that this person knew just so much information on me.
Or like, if I vote them,
so
like,
let's see what that means.
If I vote Paul, I'll just say something like, and remember my votes. Remember my votes. And something like, I always do the rules because I am definitely bringing the entire Traitors down with me. I am.
If it got to be vaguer than that, I could just be like, I don't know. It's just so. I feel like it's so many ways you could throw them ass. You can throw their ass under the bus. You can throw their ass under the bus. Child. But anyways, boom. Zach clocks that it was a drink. Everybody starts thinking about drinks for the rest of the motherfucking episode. That's all they thinking about is who was drinking what, who was giving people drinks, and who's doing this and who's doing that.
It was on the money. I will say that.
They was.
And do you see the difference in how analytical they were about the situation and spot on they were versus Traitors US? Like, this portion and guessing who was murdered. Like, I just feel like they were just so. They just obviously, like, I have like they have more critical thinking skills. No shade to the Traitors US girlies, but those faithfuls, no, they are struggling. Damn.
Jazz and Zach talk about who Paul gave a drink to. Zach is asking Jazz if Paul gave him a drink and stuff like that because both of them think Paul is a traitor, and they agree that they feel like he's one of the traitors. We see Diane telling a group of people that Miles gave her a drink. She also said Evie gave her a drink. So she knows that Miles or Evie gave her a drink. She's letting everybody know. Miles is like, well, yeah, but I was giving everyone drinks. Honestly, like I was just giving everyone drinks, and we was all giving out drinks, and drinks was just being given.
I was just joking, Mike. Stop these damn jokes. Because Sonya with Ash earlier, her now with Miles, Trishelle with Peppermint. Bitch, don't joke with me in the Traitors house. And
why are you joking in the Traitors house?
Shit's funny. There's nothing funny. And shit hilarious. I'm not gonna laugh. Like, stop it. Y'all not comedians, bitch. This is the Traitors, not Def Comedy Jam. Keep it cute.
Period. So Miles was very nervous after Diane started telling people.
Nervous as hell.
He's getting real. What is he? He said, I was bricking.
I love UK slang.
What is bricking it?
I had to Google it. He was just nervous.
That's cute. Breaking it is crazy. Like sweating bricks.
Slang, basically.
Wait, it's sweat. I was sweating bricks. Is that a thing?
That's basically what he's. Well, sweating.
He was bricking it, bruv.
He was bricking it, bruv. In it.
Isn't it, bruv? Jasmine is beginning to get suspicious of Charlotte. She feels like the way that Charlotte's thinking about the drinks, that the drinks are poison.
It's not making sense.
But this is the issue with Jasmine. No offense. That's my girl. Love her. Rooting for her. Really am rooting. But when Jasmine has a thought, bruv, it's always giving not a thought. It's like
you gonna leave my sister alone.
I'm so sorry. That's my mama. I stand Jasmine and the Jazzes down. They can do no wrong in my eyes. But
they fucking the duo breaks up. The duo breaks up. I love Jasmine.
No wrong in my eyes, but they can do wrong because what did Jasmine be talking about? No shame. Every time Jasmine is suspicious of somebody. First of all, she's never been suspicious of an actual trainer the entire season. Maybe Ash. Don't remember.
She was suspicious of Paul. I think she hopped on the train later than something.
Everyone else was suspicious of.
She got there though.
She did get there. I'll give her that, and I think maybe Ash too. But for the most part, it's like I'm just get off her. We go to the mission. We go to the
same episode where she was really throwing out the bad ones.
Yeah, we'll get there because there's a reason I'm like this. But we go to the mission, and Claudia is telling them that this mission they're gonna find out who was poisoned by the end of the mission. So they're going to take a walk, and throughout the walk, they're going to see 3 questions, and these questions are going to be the names of 4 questions. Just switching shit up for no reason. Anyways, a series of questions, and the answers to those questions are going to be the names of the people who are playing the game. And if your name is the answer, then you're safe and you're not the one who's poisoned. So by the end of it, it's only going to be a few people left, and the rest of the players are going to have to guess which one they think is actually poisoned. If they guess right, they get the money, and
they don't get the money.
Yeah, period.
So you would think anyone would be able to guess it, especially when it comes down to 3 people. I would be shocked if any iteration of the Traitors wouldn't be able to get this. Very shocked.
Meanwhile, the Traitors US didn't. But it's not a lot of game. Oh, it is a lot of gamers. There's a whole lot.
Literally, there's more.
Well, first clue. The players who are safe won a shield in the first mission. Honestly, they would have got the fuck out of me because I didn't remember nobody who won.
And I was going to say, these are easy as fuck questions. Now, would I have remembered? No. Because I wouldn't pay attention. But someone in the group would have known. Yeah, I thought it was going to be like, let's see, because there's only like 1 personal question in this one. I thought it would be a little bit more personal questions, but these were like very answerable questions. But I think it's because they definitely wanted them to have 3 getting to the end. Like, they didn't want them to get too many wrong.
That's true. The second clue was the players who are safe are the players who received the vote at last roundtable. So Zach, Andrew, and Ross are safe because of that. The next one was players who are safe are the players who Tracy will leave all her worldly goods to. I thought it was Tracy's closest ally, but clearly not because, well, I don't know, because I would have thought Diane was the answer too. But what was the answer? Did they ever tell us the actual?
It was, they didn't tell us the answer, but it's not Diane, child.
What was the answer? Because that sounds like a lie. I feel like the answer was
maybe that's why they got a 4th question. It was like, another question because they got one wrong.
Yeah, I got that wrong. And then the last one was these people never received a vote at the round table. And that was Miles, Marley, Charlotte. Boom. So they ended up with Diane, Evie, and Paul at the end. And at the final resting place, there's 3 coffins. They got to get in the coffins, of course. And then everybody else is going to have to choose which one of them think is actually murdered. On the way to the final place, Paul decides in the diary room, he says, this is my chance. This is my chance to try to use stuff to my advantage to throw Miles under the bus. So Miles starts talking about to Diane, didn't you say somebody was giving you the challenge? Wasn't it Miles, like giving you a drink or something? Like, what's tea on that? Like, what's tea on that? And Diane was like, yeah, that kind of was what it was. Like, it was Miles, and Evie also gave me one, but yeah. So he's just trying to bring it up.
Yeah. And then she definitively says, it's like, if she dies, it's Miles, and if Paul dies, it's Jazz.
Yep. So
now apparently Evie's right here, but she didn't hear any of this.
Evie didn't hear anything that happened, apparently. Allegedly. Because I'm like,
she was right there.
Because when I was watching, I was like, he's talking to, they're all 3 talking to each other. I thought Diane was telling both of them, but I guess
especially when she said, if I die, it's Miles, and if he dies, it's Jazz. She said that Evie was in the middle of both of them.
Yeah. I think Evie wasn't paying attention. Maybe Evie was actually worried because she was not a traitor. So she was too worried to listen. She didn't know what
that's the gag.
So anyways, they get to the vote where they're voting for who they think is actually dead. Majority of them vote Diane, and they are correct. Diane was murdered, of course, and they get to win the money. So that's great. Good for them. They get their money. Yeah. BBUS needs to take some notes.
Girl, BBUS lost $20,000.
The Traitors. We talking about BB. The Traitors US needs to take some notes. So on their way back to the castle, we see a bunch of car conversations. So Paul is in his car, and he tells them, yeah, Diane was saying that if she dies, it's Miles. If she dies, it's Miles. So I'm just letting y'all know, since Diane died, it's giving Miles, like, I don't know. Like, she was saying if she dies, it's Miles.
No one is shocked. No one is shocked. After how they ran Ash about it here, I knew this was coming. I don't know why I was shocked.
You said Miles should be way more on his toes. He shouldn't have even been the one who was doing handing
the chalice. He should have been Phaedra to the bullshit. Oh, I'll be drinking with my friends. Let my colleagues handle it.
On Paul's ass, I think he's just doing too much. You're just doing too much. This is not necessary. You intentionally had the conversation with Diane so she could bring it up. Then you intentionally brought it up in the car. And then it's clearly, and I think Marley says it later, like, it just seems like you very carefully set everything up. Mm-hmm. And you did. And it's kind of.
He did the exact same thing with Ash.
The same thing. So it's like, I think Miles getting voted out could have just been more natural. Paul didn't have to be the head honcho to this whole thing. He could have just voted right and moved along. That's what Sari did. Sari was not always the one. First of all, whenever someone was voted out, it's because everybody else was sussing it. Right. And Sari was like, you know what? It's giving you. And she would just vote. It would be not until Sari revealed her vote that the person knew that they was betraying her. Why does everybody know that they're getting betrayed this season? It shouldn't be that obvious.
You really don't need to push. Like, just, it's going to happen naturally most times. Like, there was no need for them to have to get Miles out here.
No need. If he goes, great. If he doesn't, that's also fine. I really don't see the issue with him not going.
It's not even just him like planting seeds or like lightly just suggesting it. It's literally he's the only one arguing it, and like now they're like, oh, and he has reasons as to why it has to be this, and it's like, and they use it against him later. Like he's just so sure of it.
Yeah, of course he is. He knows. Miles is telling people in his car that, I mean, we just shouldn't be worried too much about the drinks. Like, it's not giving the drinks. It's like,
girl,
this is the second time you said it. One,
he keeps saying
like what's like you really trying to deflect? I feel like I don't know how Miles should have played this, but I don't think it was like this. I don't think it was like this.
He fucked up giving it to Diane. That's what he fucked up, because I don't think there was any way he can get over it. Like, that's true. Him giving, I think they were going to look at the people who get the drinks regardless. They were going to settle on that, and it was between him and Evie. And maybe if Paul wasn't pushing what he was pushing, he could have got over on it, but that really did him in.
One thing I noticed is he not once suggested Evie, and I feel like it made it seem like all you're doing is trying to deflect off the drinks, when you should also be thinking about the drink. The drink should be a valid reason for you. So you should probably be like, if you were really a faithful, I think a true faithful would have been like, well, I know I'm not a traitor, so it probably had to be Evie, because only two of us gave her a drink. One was me, one was Evie. I'm not a traitor, so it must be Evie. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like that's what
gagged.
She would have. I don't know. Like, honestly, Evie, from here on, I never really thought you were a traitor, but you have been quiet at the round table sometimes. And now all of a sudden that there's an open kill, you're one of the only people who handed it. You and me are the only people who handed it to Diane, and I know I didn't kill her. So I just don't know what else to think.
Wow.
I just feel like his argument was so nervous. Like, you're clearly.
It was.
You're clearly caught.
I don't know, guys. We shouldn't be worried about the drink. And it's like, girl, we will. Mm-hmm. We can and we will.
Mm-hmm. Zach is telling his car that he knows it's Miles, basically. He's like, it's obviously Miles. Diane died. Miles gave her a drink. We know it. But Paul, his only issue is that Paul also is clearly giving weird vibes. Like, Paul is just very, very weird. So I don't know. Harry has a diary room about how Paul is his number one. That's his A1 day one, his ace boom coon. He don't really want to let him go. So he needs to kind of make sure the shit is going to the right direction. And
he immediately, and that's why we're going to definitely get into it as it progresses. Like, I don't know how Harry doesn't have more suspicions on him after Paul gets exposed, because Harry has been in lockstep with Paul this entire time. Like, when they clocked Ash, he was right on board. When they clocked Miles, he was right there too. And then when Paul goes, Harry's the one leading that charge. So it's like, what we're all accusing Paul of, Harry is right there in the exact same position. I feel like it's so clockable. And a few people notice it, which we'll get to. But
I feel like Paul was clockable day one. Like, I feel like Paul
when
was
everyone
clockable
said he's the most popular,
so
no. And I think that's the most thing I'm really, like, I think people need to realize, going into the Traitors, if multiple people are saying, I know for a fact, I feel it in my bones that this person is not a traitor, put them on your list. Because if someone is making someone feel like they are 100% faithful, then they're eating it up. And there's no reason to eat it up in that manner unless you're a traitor. Only a traitor needs to 100% convince someone that they're a faithful, which I know sounds crazy, but like, Because they're trying to convince someone.
That's the goal of their game.
Like, as a faithful,
everyone else is trying to find the traitors.
Right. Yeah. As a faithful, you shouldn't have to convince anything. You just are a faithful. Traitors have to convince people. And you have, like, for example, Cody, Sari are examples. Koozie in her version, the dude who won it, I can't remember his name, Magic Mike, I think. Even Wilfred in season 1 for a long time, people were saying, I know for a fact that this person isn't a traitor. Get them out. Anyone who's walking around saying that, they are a problem. Because you don't hear anyone saying that about anyone else. But the Harrys, the Pauls, they were saying
about Phaedra already.
They're saying about Phaedra
already.
Becky said about Harvey.
Because you can put so much energy into just pretending to be a faithful instead of trying to find the traitor. You're not finding the traitors. You are the traitor. So you don't have any energy elsewhere but pretending to be a faithful. Literally. So you clocking. Who you clock? Boom, we get back to the castle, and Zach's talking to Miles, and he tells him that it's given, like, it's between you and Abby. Y'all were the only two who gave her a drink, so it's one of y'all. And Miles like, look, I don't know. I just feel like we need to look at something else other than the drinks.
And that is his only argument, too.
And it's like you should have said Abby. You should have just been like, honestly, I'm a faithful. It's not me. I don't necessarily think it has to be a drink, but if I do think that that's a viable option, so it could be Abby. I never really thought it was Abby till now, but I know it's not me.
Seeds. Or, like, so for example, like, he's not offering any other, like, solution. He's just saying, well, let's not focus on the drinks.
If it's not you, then who is it? We need another name because we're going to vote a person. So if you're just saying don't look at drinks, what do we look at then?
Because Zach told him straight up, it's between you and Abby for this reason. And he's just like, well, I don't think we should worry about the drinks. Okay, so what should we worry about?
What should we worry about? As a faithful, let's figure out what we should worry about then. And he wasn't doing that.
The thing is, he knew Paul had some suspicion on him. He should have threw out the Paul name.
Yep. Should have. Because he kept, and you know what? He and that's his issue, and you said it already. He's not worried about taking out other traitors. His argument could have been successful because he kept saying, I think the traitors are trying to push this idea.
He ate it up at the round table when he knew Paul was coming for him. So if he just did it first.
He started off doing it. Because in his mind, he's like, the traitors are pushing this drink thing. Just say a name. Which traitor? Who do you think is pushing it?
Paul is pushing it based off of this theory that no one else hears. This is someone that did this, that did this, that did this. Mm-hmm. Like, girl, you could have went in.
Mm-hmm. Mind you know it's Paul, so you can give all the accurate reasons. That's why it's so easy to get out another traitor, because you genuinely know what they've been doing. Like Harry. Harry listed every single thing Paul did from day one to the end of the to the final day.
Yeah, girl, he had notes.
And it's like, of course he does. He's a traitor. I would have been so suspicious of that.
He definitely wasn't prepared for this role, the traitor role. And that's what it comes down to. I don't think he was prepared to do it because he was not on his toes enough. Or he wasn't prepared for these type of traitors. Like I said, these are some backstabbing ass traitors. Mm-hmm. And like still, like even with other examples, like these people are pretty cutthroat. So I can see him being like, okay, I wasn't sure. But I don't know too, because there's just so many examples. Like, you saw what they did to Ash. You saw it. But who knows?
He wasn't. Boom. Harry has the diary room. He says Miles is basically out of the door. So because Paul has turned on him. Paul has turned on him. Paul has led this charge. So I mean, that's just gonna be that on that. So Harry starts saying to another group that he has suspicions of Miles. And while he's telling them all his suspicions of Miles, Miles walks by and hears him saying it. But that's the thing, right here, you should have started it. Right here. When you heard this shit and you heard all the tea, you should have immediately been like, okay, it's gonna have y'all want to play this game? Let's play this game. Parvati. That's exactly what it said. Okay, Harry. You want to get buck? Paul.
Harry.
Paul. Whatever. How you gotta say it. And the accent not right. But anyways, Miles hears it and he walks in the conversation. Harry a little gagged, by the way. I saw his eyes. Harry's eyes got wide.
Like, oh, Miles, we were yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Ross tells him what Paul was saying, which was that Diane said that it was you if she dies. And Miles was like, look, Diane ain't here though. So what's the tea? And it's like that gets defensive too. Like that whole part. Diane's not here though. But Diane isn't here. So who validated? It's
like he really, you could tell he really
just say it's not you.
To defend
just say it's not you.
He jumped to defend himself so quickly.
Very. It's like kind of that Ash tease. Like you're getting so defensive.
Antsy about it too.
So he's just like, Diane wasn't here to really verify that. And Evie is vouching a little bit because Evie knows she was also one of the people who gave Diane the drink. So she's like, I mean, we can't just assume it's a drink. I know I'm a faithful. Right. So I guess he got that type of backup, but girl, barely. So Miles is basically saying, look, we can't be barking up the wrong tree because the person who's pushing the agenda is probably a traitor trying to push it. And Ross says Paul's the one pushing the agenda. But Miles doesn't, we don't see Miles really harp on that. And it's like, that's your issue. He should have said Paul is pushing the agenda. Miles should have said, I think Paul is probably the traitor, because also the dungeon thing, he didn't bring that shit up to the last minute. We done already decided it was you. It's too late, babes. Girl. So we go to the round table. And at the round table, Miles, on the way to the round table, he has a diary room saying he's ready to bring them down. He doesn't give a damn. It is what it is. If he's going down, you burn with us.
And then he didn't do that.
And then he didn't burn them with him.
Like I was so disappointed. What
happened? Lied. Girl, Paul starts off.
And he's starting. Why were you starting it?
I was just going to say that. That's so suspicious. Like, that's suspicious to me.
Especially because you're right. Like, and you know you're right. I know that it's Diane. Diane told me, and I know.
How you know? So Paul reveals to everybody what Diane has said and how he's going with his gut, and his gut is telling him his mouth. And it's like, is your gut telling you that, or did Diane tell you that? It's just,
or did Claudia tell you that because you know you got the traitor?
Or did the traitor turret tell you, or did you tell yourself that because you knew? It's just, I don't know. Miles is like, it's ironic because nobody can really vouch for that conversation. And Paul was like, no, Evie was literally right there. And Evie was like, well, no.
And then you see how Harry keep trying to like jump in. Like, he's like, oh, well, yeah, I was just going to ask. Can you vouch for that? I just feel like Harry is so shady at these round tables.
He always does that too. He always is like, advocate. He's like Paul will say something and he'll come in backing him up every single time.
And we know Paul is. I guess people forget that, or they just overlooking it because they want to. Like the way he's always had Paul's back until he turned on him.
Yeah, it was very weird. It was very weird. So Evan was like, I never heard her say that, and Paul was like, but you did hear her say those names. He was like, yes, but I didn't hear what she said.
Right, I didn't hear the context. Like, I didn't hear past that. And I was like, period, Evie. Period, Evie.
Period. And then Harry hops in.
I was like, is she lying? Because, like, girl, how you didn't hear that? But shit.
This is when Harry hops in. He's like, well, it could be both of them. It could be Miles and Evie. And it's like, what? Hold on. Calm down.
Like, why are you talking, Harry? Let Paul handle it.
Literally.
He want to be involved.
Miles hops back in. He's like, look, Diane ain't here to defend herself. Evie didn't hear it. So it's just, I just feel like this drink narrative has been pushed. And I feel like it's been pushed by Traitors.
And I would have said, and that traitor is you, Paul.
I would have said the same thing. Like, he waited way too long. Get people thinking. Ross wants to defend his mama. And he said, if my mom said it's Miles, then it's Miles.
Right, we have to take her word for it. Like, no, we don't.
Child, he didn't tell them that because they don't know. But he was like, if Diane said it was Miles, I just feel like we need to take her word for it. We just got to. We just have to. And Paul was like, look, it's 100% Miles. If it's not Miles, banish me tomorrow. I swear to God.
Oh,
it's like, of course you do.
Oh,
you know.
He put it on the floor.
He put it on the motherfucking floor. So Paul is standing 11 toes down.
And then he basically started saying, like, he's been feeling this way. And the girls talk really quickly. If you've been feeling this, then why haven't you been saying it?
Where have you been? You've been thinking this whole time, and you're just now bringing it up now because Diane said it. It's just very shady. It's very dodgy. He doesn't, and I feel like he doesn't really defend that well. Honestly, really in my opinion, Paul don't be defending shit that good in general. But that's just me.
Yeah.
So
I do feel like because not only with Diane saying the drinks thing, like people saw Miles do that, and like it's just out in the open that Miles did that. So I feel like people were just definitely more on that because there is no like hard evidence with Paul. I wouldn't say not hard, but just like I just feel like that's more. What is the word I'm looking for? Like stable type of evidence against. Miles.
It is. It's just like in your face. It's in your face, and it's like so direct, and we know Diane went home.
Like this is an
like
entire
all of Paul's suspicions. So after this, Miles finally says he thinks Paul is a traitor. He mentions the dungeon situation, how you definitely should have went home when you were the only option and you were the most liked. It doesn't make no sense for you to go home, but you came back. And there's multiple other times where your name has just come up and it's just felt weird. And Paul says it's given that's another misdirection. It feels like you're trying to misdirect. And Harry has a diary room. He says he feels like Paul is playing this all wrong and he's going to get caught up.
Hell up.
So it's his time.
He gags the lie.
Yeah. Harry said it's my time to turn into Harry Giesling.
Oh. Because he gonna whisper over to Zach. And I'm saying, like, Harry is like, maybe this is the editing, but Harry is like so inconsistent, I feel. Like what he's doing on the actual show, and then what he says in the diary room, or even just like outside the round table, inside the round table. Like I just like it's like kind of all over the place. But
I see that too.
He tells Zach, he's like, do you reckon it's two traitors going at it? And it's like, I was shook because I'm thinking like Harry is never gonna portray Paul, but girl,
he started on the seeds already. He started on the seeds, and he basically makes it seem like he just feels like Paul's gonna fuck himself up, so he wants to get on that. So that's what he does, honestly. Boom. After this, we see that they continue to argue a little bit, and Paul mentions that Paul says he's trying to be really honest. Zach says it would be like nice for a trader. It's gonna be a good move for a trader to sell somebody out when it's very convenient. It's given this is very, very convenient for you. And boom. So we end this conversation. Claudia says it's time to vote. We get the votes, and majority of people vote for Miles.
Right.
So Miles is evicted from the house. Not evicted. Removed. And then Miles goes up. He reveals himself. I'm kind of waiting for the gag. I'm kind of waiting for the tea. And it doesn't give the tea. It doesn't give the gag.
I thought you were gonna give something, a little nudge, or something a little shady. Nothing. I'm like, okay, Miles.
But what's shady was the reactions. Because he reveals he's a traitor. And then Paul breaks down and starts crying. Throwing up, dying damn near. And it's like what's happening?
He got so caught up in being a traitor. And that dude, the one the one non-celebrity traitor in Traitors US 1. What was his name? Christian, I think. I don't remember. It's like you get so caught up in being the traitor that you just honestly just start doing too much. Like you don't have to do this to deflect from anything. Just cheer like everyone else and walk away. It's like you're just causing so while you're being consoled by like 3 or 4 people, there's gonna be 2 or 3 other people watching from the sidelines being like, why is he crying? Because that's me. Literally. I'm that person. I'd be like, why is this nigga crying? Because that's the thing. What a lot of the traitors try to do, well, this is the easiest way to manipulate someone is emotionally. They try to tug at the heartstrings. If you don't care about shit like that, that's not gonna work.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like you have to be a very specific person for me to care. And I think that's why Sari was able to be such a great trader because it's like Sari gives like they were saying like motherly vibes in the house, or like friend, or like like she actually cares about you. Like they felt like they had a genuine connection with her, and that's the way to go. But trying to actively manipulate people's emotions is not going to work because there are going to be
it's never going to work.
There's going to be people in the room that catch on. Like it's an act, obviously. Exactly. Anyone who cries at the round table, I'm gonna be like, girl,
what's happening?
You're crying. This is the Traitors, girl. No shade.
Please.
You need to go home.
So he's crying, he's getting consoled, and a lot of people are like very confident that he is not a traitor. Ross has a diary room about it. Ross hasn't been right. Ross hasn't been right one time at all for me. Like,
and now what's so annoying is that this one is connected to his mama because he's like, oh, he avenged my mother's death, so he's definitely a faithful. He's an asset to the team. And it's like, girl, you're just happy that he even avenged his mama. He used his mama.
We see back in the house, Paul is still crying, or he's just doing a lot. He's still crying, doing too much. And Harry has a diary room. He's like, look, he's doing too much. He's doing all this crying. People are going to catch on, nigga. Like, you're doing way too much.
I also
people are catching on.
I think Harry was a little bit jealous.
Oh!
I sense jealousy. I sense jealousy a tad. Because little comments like this, and then some comments later on, that'll be relevant when we get to it. It's like, I don't think that he was like, because what Paul trying to make it seem like is that he's the leader and Harry is, had to learn from him, like he's a protege a little bit. I don't think Harry is dumb, but I do think Harry wanted that spotlight. He wanted to be the mastermind of the Traitors.
Yeah. He makes a few comments that makes it seem like that for sure. So I agree. So Harry has him clocked, and Harry tells a group of people it's Zach, Marley, and Jasmine. He's like, look, do you guys think that it was two traitors going at it? I believe that was a war of two traitors.
Girl.
So he's spilling the tea to other
gagging
people.
We're gagging alive. I'm
Every
so
smart
happy
ass
about
still
this.
thinks it's Paul. Evie had Paul clocked for a while.
I like Evie. I love Evie. I love Evie's read. She be clocking.
Yeah. She does. Very rare. Her and Jazz, like their reads are
yes. They're the best. They're the best faithful here.
Yeah, they really are. 100%. Yeah, honestly, truly, every other faithful is either useless or bad. Mm-hmm. Like you're literally bad at the game.
I feel like Zach tries so hard to be a good faithful. He's just terrible at
it. That's exactly what that is. So boom. Everybody leaves the castle, and the traitors go to their turret to meet. And when they pull up, it's just Harry and Paul. And they have the option, of course, because there's only 2 traitors left. You have the option to either murder or recruit another traitor. Mm-hmm. So they have to decide on that.
Yes. And this is where, like, literally what I was saying earlier about Harry, he has a diary room here where he's like, he feels like Paul underestimates him and believes he's a mastermind, but Harry says he's playing his own game. And it's like, girl, because Paul do think those things, but when we've seen in Paul's confessionals, he doesn't downplay Harry at all. He just doesn't discuss Harry, Yeah. But I believe he trusts Harry. Do I think he will all the way to the end with Harry? Maybe not. But I don't know. It definitely seems like Harry is more impressed by Paul than vice versa. No shame.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like it has anything to do with like would Paul cut me. He never really mentions that. He kind of just mentions Paul thinks he's that nigga and that I'm just gonna be subservient to him and that's it. Mm-hmm. So it does give a little bit of jealousy, honestly, to be honest. But they're deciding whether they should recruit or they should kill, murder. And honestly, I think from Harry, if I was Harry and I felt like Paul was going to go next and I knew I was planting seeds for Paul, I feel like I would understand to recruit one more person. So that way I have somebody at the end for the faithfuls to murder. And then we can say, oh my God, we got the last one, we win. So I understand that. But I don't know if that's what they were thinking. But eventually, Harry pushes that they should bring someone in. Paul is pushing that maybe they should just murder someone. Harry pushes they should bring someone in. And they kind of just decide they'll bring another traitor in.
And I think this was definitely Harry. Well, I thought it was Harry setting up his downfall. You know what? I think it initially was Harry setting up his downfall, but he changed it up once he saw the recruiter's reaction because they recruited Andrew.
I was thinking the same thing.
And how Andrew reacted, it was like, okay, now I have to stick with Paul then. But he was definitely setting Paul up here because Paul, I think, had it clocked. I was thinking this immediately. There's no way these specific 2 should recruit anyone, especially at this moment. You just killed damn near 2 traitors in a row that y'all spearheaded. If you get anyone in, they're going to feel weird about you.
Some type of way.
Now, 100%. Andrew isn't he ain't gonna do anything about it. I just thought it was gonna be someone that would be more militant and ready to be actively against them. Except Andrew just like also started trusting them, just like fucking Miles did. It's like after seeing like Miles, after you saw what did happen to Ash, you thought she was cool. But now Andrew, after you see what happens to Ash and Miles, you going okay. Cool? Okay.
It's just not making sense. And then there's more and more. It's like they are shoving the evidence down your throat. When is somebody
like they are not trustworthy? Even if you're good for a few rounds, they are probably gonna get you out at the final round table or the final fire making. Like they are gonna get you out. These are not trustworthy people. You're not splitting the money with them. I would immediately think I'm not splitting the money with these bitches. Like, there's no way.
Literally. But hey, he's here. We start episode 8. We see that they recruited Andrew. I thought that was a questionable decision. My only thought process was like, if I'm Harry, I know Paul's gonna go. I need somebody who's gonna let me run them. Right. So maybe he thinks Andrew is someone who let him run him. But after finding out his thoughts, I'm like, is that what he thinks? But like you said, I think it was Andrew's reaction. So boom. They decide on Andrew. He accepts the invitation and he pulls up. And when he pulls up, he basically is like, so what happened with Ash and with Miles? What's
I didn't think he was gonna call him out like that, but he called them out real quick.
Straight up. And this is what I was thinking. Andrew, I don't think Andrew genuinely wanted to be a traitor. I just think Andrew was like, if I don't accept this, I'm going to get voted out anyway. Yeah. They will literally be like, we have to vote me out. And it's like, it's a trap. Like, I just realized how much of a trap it is. You can't deny being recruited. You have to accept, or you're just going to get voted out. You're just going to get murdered. So it's like, he had no choice but to accept. And in reality, he just wants to be faithful, I feel. So he's just kind of stuck. He's going to lose this game. Because now he's really stuck. He doesn't know how to play as a traitor. He never wanted to play as a traitor. And that's what he is. Stuck in being a traitor.
So I do think overall it was a good move because, I mean, he joined. He is scared of the shit, but he doesn't do anything about it.
Yep. So it was fine. I think this one was fine. But we'll see what happens after this. Mm-hmm. But anyways, yeah, he asked them, what's tea? What happened? And they were basically like, I mean, they just weren't doing good. They had to go. It was their time. They were fucking up. So they had to get out of there.
And it's like,
Andrew was like, oh, so y'all gonna do that to me. Like, basically, he's basically just like, so I'm next. So it's giving me next. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, no, like, it's gonna be different with you. And it's like, I don't even feel like they're I feel like they just didn't expect him to even ask about it because their responses were kind of like, I don't know. Their responses were kind of like,
what do you mean you care? We killed 2 of our fellow traitors.
Yeah.
Like, Paul literally said he's shocked that he's taking it this way. And Harry was like, well, why did you even accept? And he's like, well, I thought I would have been murdered. Like, they're acting like
literally
they don't have all of the power in the situation. Like take it out of a game perspective. Y'all are out here killing innocent people, and then you recruit one of them. Hey, we're not going to kill you, but you have to join us. I'm going to join. And shut the fuck up.
The fact that they're surprised he responded like this is, like, crazy.
I think when you get in that position of power, you're like, you're not thinking straight. Like, they've been running the game. Once you're a traitor, you're at the head of the game. So, like, I don't think they're in the minds of a faithful for real because there's nowhere they're confused, especially after what they did so recently. Like Ash and Miles, there was no distance between that. And that's the thing, like Ash to Miles to then Paul, it's like these people think they're the best faithfuls ever because they're going back to back to back, which I think it is a good team, but it's mainly because of the fucking traitors going after each other.
Yeah, that's very true. Child. So we get to breakfast. And at breakfast, Paul and Harry are there first, so they're able to chat a little bit. And they basically talk about Andrew, about, why was he acting like that? Like, his reaction was weak. Like, it was just giving weak. He didn't have any. Like, what are y'all talking about? What are y'all talking about? Harry was like, no one forced them to join.
You basically did. Really did. You put a dagger up to his neck and said, "Join us." Like,
or else.
Do y'all think y'all good guys? Like, y'all are not good guys.
What? Y'all are hashtag the traitors.
Mm-hmm. And this is where we get the Harry perspective. He's like, he's unsure if he can trust Andrew. So he's been with Paul from the beginning. He's just going to rock it out with Paul. Thank God that changes. But I definitely think he would have been on it if Andrew came in like, oh, I'm psyched to be here. I'm going to try. Oh, who we going to kill? Maybe he would have worked the angle a little bit more, but he was kind of scared here. So he was like, hold on, Holiday.
That makes sense. Everybody else starts pouring in. Jazz still thinks Paul is a traitor, of course. He had that clock, he tells us in the diary room. Love him. And the faithfuls assume, since no one went home, that someone was recruited. Zach's theory is that there's only 2 traitors now. Now there's only 2 of them. It's 3 of them. He's wrong.
As per usual.
As always.
The only thing he got right was Paul, and I'm going to credit that to Jazz. I don't care.
Clock it. The fuck? Anyways, Charlie and Andrew kind of talk about the recruitment. Andrew tells Charlie he would never been able to do it anyways. It's just not for him morally. And honestly, I think he's lying. Like, truthful. I don't think it's with him morally, but he knew he had to do it or he was going to lose the game. So
I would say I'd be happy to get recruited. Well, that's the thing. I'd be happy, and I walk in there and see them, and I'd be like, yeah, I see what they did to Miles and Ash, girl. I'm gonna stay on my high heels on my tippies. I'm not playing with these bitches.
Don't say Ingabana.
That's
because they were the head honcho. Because I think that's what's so flabbergasting to the people who get recruited is like, y'all didn't just take these people out. Y'all led the charges for them to go. That does
y'all
not
at the round table listing evidence after evidence, got fact after fact. Because you bitches knew. You can do the exact same thing to me. And that's the thing, like, it's the whole scapegoat strategy. And Andrew, he clocked that immediately. He's like, well, clearly I'm just a scapegoat for the both of them, like how Miles and Ash was.
Child. Boom. After this, we see Paul talks to people. He talks to Ross and Harry. He tries to pretend like he's a target.
It's just more causing attention on yourself. Why would you be a target?
All the time? That's all he does.
Shut up.
Like that's all Paul does. He never shuts up. He's always talking. He's always this. I'm popular, so I'm going to do this. I was talking.
People are always talking.
But what happens when the talk isn't cheap, Paul? You go home.
It just is what it is. You're a traitor.
See what I mean by this is? Harry. I look with me in your shoes after this.
People don't know what we talk about. Zach and Jazz talk. They discuss that they still think it's Paul. Zach and Jazz are on the same wavelength when it comes to Paul. For sure. They talk about how even though he voted for Miles, like they still think that it's that nigga. And it just gave like it was a plan. Like it was planned to come off as
they got him clocked.
I'm the one who they knew everything. They have it all wrapped up. They know exactly what
like
Paul
they ate that up. They really did.
They know exactly what Paul did. Period. Another group, Evie, Charlie, Jazz, and Zach, they discuss the potential of who could be a traitor. And they talk about basically recruitment options because they feel like Charlotte, they always had it. They already had their eyes on Charlotte. They felt like Charlotte was somebody who was standing up for Miles. Like she's always been, yes, the whole drink thing. And so Zach says Charlotte would be a great recruit option. So people are starting to feel like Charlotte has been recruited. She has not.
And that is like a different element I never thought about because it's like that would be I feel like that is just another thing that gives the traders the one up. And what we've realized because these traders keep taking each other out, at least in Trader UK, when there's two, anytime there's two, you get a chance to recruit. And I just think that's like fucking crazy a little
Every time there's two? And I think that's what's crazy to me. I feel like they should have a limit, whether it's just one time or two times. Like, I don't think you should be able to continuously recruit every single time. Because they've recruited 3 times this season. And it's like, oh, really?
Yeah. It's a whole different team by the end of it. And it's literally, I think it's crazy because it's like, if someone is thinking, if they eliminate you in their mind as a faithful, it's like, to then have to reconsider them halfway through, it's like, girl, I'm not doing all of that.
It's very hard. It's very hard to do. So I think there should just be a limit of the amount of times the traders can recruit because the traders are already OP, and it adds an element to where they couldn't have. How last time they just randomly recruited Andrew, and they were like, let's just recruit. It wouldn't be so easy to do that if they knew they can only ever recruit one time. For
right. The game. That would be a little bit.
They would probably be like, okay, wait. We probably just have to kill again.
This many recruitments because also it's the strategy around it. Like they're literally recruiting people to just burn them, and it's like that's not even fair to the faithful at this point.
Yeah, and then the faithful kind of have to say yes. Like it should also be some sort of yes. If you offer them to be recruited, you cannot murder them. If you give them the offer, you can't murder them that night. So Andrew, even if he denies, they can't murder him. They have to choose someone else. Or they just can't murder that night at all. Can they murder him? Or they would have murdered the next night. So you can't murder him the next night then. Give him a round of safety. Because then it's just lazy. Like, if Andrew said no, the only reason Andrew said yes is because he knew he would be murdered next. If he knew he was safe the next round for denying, then it's like...
But it's like, deny, you're going to kill at some point. Maybe not next, but...
That's true. Because then it'll just be the round after that. It's like, well... So they need to think of something else. Just recruit one person. Stop adding everybody in or whatever. But anyways, after this, Jasmine speaks with Morley. She talks to Ross and Morley. And she talks about Zach. She says she feels like she likes Zach, but he's just always confidently, basically wrong.
Always talking.
That's the... Yes. Basically. And this is my thing. I'm mad for someone to think Zach is the traitor because Zach gives traitor, even though he's not.
I don't think he does. I don't think he gives traitor. Because
He gives
if he was a traitor, he would be a bad traitor because he's always throwing shit out. The attention is always on Zach because he's always throwing something out, and then the way he throws things out, he's very confrontational with the way he does it. And very accusatory. It wouldn't be smart if he was a traitor.
That's what's hard about this because
it's terrible faithful. It's like, why are you such an annoying, terrible faithful?
This is a hard game because as a faithful, you have to decipher someone just being suspicious from being a traitor because that is just suspicious.
I mean, this entire season, Anthony, Brian, the way they're reacting,
Anthony, they are very suspicious.
Yeah.
So I kind of get it, but then again, you're right. But Jasmine is suspicious of Zach. She also mentioned she's also suspicious of Jazz. And I kind of never. I kind of still don't.
Two faithfuls, sister.
I kind of still don't understand her suspicion of Jazz. They mentioned like he has voted wrong or something. I don't know. Like I don't necessarily get the suspicion of Jazz. I feel like that's the one all season.
I feel like it has to just be because he seems reserved and quiet. Like the quiet one out of a bunch. I think that's probably more it because I don't think any of his actions, especially after Paul goes home, I don't know how Jazz still an option, but whatever.
Girl. And Molly's still suspicious of Paul, but Ross is 100% certain that Paul is not a traitor.
Right,
so that's good for him.
Hang it up, maybe.
How do you?
I know Diane was watching this like, ugh.
Child. After this, we get some of Charlotte's thoughts because Charlotte is talking with Harry, Paul, and then some other people come over. And she talks about how she feels like Zach could have been someone who was recruited. So we have a lot of eyes on Zach. Andrew's talking about how Jazz and Zach are the people he's looking at, really. So people are starting to have suspicions on Zach, suspicions on Jazz. I feel like none of it really makes much sense. They're kind of just grasping at straws again. And it's like, this is how you know when Claudia's like, y'all have clocked 3 traitors. It's like, no, y'all haven't. No, y'all haven't. The traitors have clocked 3 traitors.
Literally, the traitors have allowed them to get a traitor.
Yes, very much so. So that's how they're all thinking. We see Zach and Ross talk over there. So Zach is starting to think about Charlotte. So on Zach's side of the world, he's throwing out Charlotte. On Charlotte's side of the world, she's throwing out Zach. And they're in the group together. Zach asked Charlotte, he's like, would you accept an ultimatum? Do you think you would accept something like that? And Charlotte was like, well, I mean, not really at that stage, but maybe prior to, I probably would. And Zach cuts her off. And he's like, well, I mean, if you don't take it, you die. So if that's the ultimatum. And Charlotte was like, well, if you let me finish, let me finish my sentence, my thought.
That'd be good.
I'll let you know that I wouldn't even accept it. Right. So anyways, they get in a little tiffle. Zach is like, it's just a little strange. It seems like you're shifting this on to me.
I really don't like the way Zach approaches these conversations at all. That's why I just got so irritated by him by episode 9, because the way he does it is so like, one, he's accusing Faithful. So it's like, you're wrong. But it's like, he'll ask this random question. Someone will answer it not in a way that he approves of, that he believes the answer should be. And then he'll just ask these follow-up like shit out of nowhere. It's like rapid fire. Like, what did you eat today? Did you eat cereal last night? Well, no, I'm not. Well, what about? And then and the person is like, rightfully so. Like, it's not even deflecting. It's more so, what are you talking about? He's like, why are you being? I just think it's convenient. I mean, I just don't understand why. It's like so. It's like you're irritating faithfuls, and you're like, look at your reaction. Look at your reaction. Like, no, you're irritating me. I'm irritated right now because you're annoying as fuck. That's how I think Charlotte was reacting, and he took it like, I mean, I don't know why you're getting so defensive and deflecting. And it's like, you're being annoying. I'm annoyed. And literally the same thing happens to Jasmine in episode 9. And it's like, he is leading Faithful to be killed by making them look suspicious because he's questioning them and making them look defensive. And it's like, I don't know.
A bad Faithful.
And he also says in the diary, like, the only reason why he did that is because he thinks she was recruited. And it's like, so you called this Faithful out in front of everybody because you were suspicious. It's like, the way he went about it is just so, like... And
he's, like, using it as proof.
Oh, you go.
I'm just saying, like, he's using it as, like, proof, or, like, this is... he's doing it to kind of catch them in something, but it's like, you really just bombarding them.
And that's what's so annoying, too, because he is so stuck in how he feels, and he speaks as if it's 100% true. So her giving any other answer to what he's already thinking, he automatically doesn't believe it. So he questions her as if he doesn't believe it, and that's not how you're supposed to get information.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why are we having it? Like, we're not having a conversation. You're accusing me and refuse to accept any other answer than me accepting being a traitor.
Literally. That's exactly what happens. That's exactly what he does. He does that all the time, though. I feel like that's what's annoying, too. Like, you haven't learned to do something else.
Right. I mean, the traitors don't have to kill him. There's no reason to banish him because he's obviously not a traitor. Traitors don't have to kill him because he's getting faithful killed. So he's going to be in the end, choosing wrong, losing.
They get to the mission, and on the mission, they have to pull up to a church. So they pull up to the church, and then the church is basically everybody named on some glass. It's a glass window, and all of their names are on it. And they're going to take turns taking shots at the glass to break it. If you actually break the glass, then you earn. Oh no, you start off with 7K pounds, and if you miss the glass when it's your turn, you lose 100 pounds. Every time someone misses, they lose 100 pounds. So you want to try to get it. And the caveat is, if you're the last glass that's still on the wall, you get the shield. So you get the shield for the round. It's a cute comp. I kind of like it. Very simple, cute, petite. So I like
it to be this simple. I don't really need the stunts and shows when it barely matters. No shade.
Yeah, very much so. I agree. And this one is like they're also choosing the shield. So that part was also a little bit interesting, to be honest.
I like the idea in the beginning when she said it's going to be multiple shields. Like they kind of the way of getting the shield is more involved in the challenge, which I like. But it's like, I don't know. I just wish there was multiple available. Like, imagine if 3 people were safe at this late in the game. Like, just make it harder for the traitors. If there's 9 people left and majority of them are safe, who knows what get them going home? It could be someone that doesn't help them. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Or someone that like points it directly to them when they didn't want it to, type stuff. They do need to do better than that. Help the faithfuls. The faithfuls need to have even playing field. I feel like
it's not even at all. Like the only way the faithfuls can win is if the traitors fuck up, and I've only seen that once in season 1 of UK. So.
How did they?
And he barely fucked up. Like, if the dude didn't give that little warning, Wilfred definitely would have won because all 3 of the faithful at that point thought he was a faithful. Like, they were 100% sure he was a faithful.
So they play, they go back and forth. It was cute. We didn't really learn new information, but Molly ends up getting the shield this round, so that's good. Boom. We go back to the castle. On the way back to the castle, we see Evie in the car. She's talking to Molly, Jazz, and Harry, and they're talking about how Paul is suspicious, and all of them in the car are really like, yes, like he really is. Like, they're very in agreement on the fact that Paul is just very suspicious. He's perfect for this role. They feel like it's gonna give him very much.
Oh, I was like, yes, because I have been praying on this man's downfall. Oh, I'm sorry. I needed him to go real bad. I did. But now
in the other car,
Harry, the new Paul
but that's the thing. We're gonna get there. Because I feel like it's so identical. It's so identical.
That's why I feel like he really just wanted the position. He wanted the pole position.
Yeah.
There can't be 2 of us. There cannot be 2 of us. One of us gotta go.
When one queen dies, what is it?
When one queen fades, the other one rises.
Yeah. Child. So, at the challenge, Harry was getting targeted quotations because a lot of people were going for his thing. And he had made a comment about it. He was like, ooh, why am I getting targeted? So that does get mentioned in the car because in Jasmine's car, she's asking, it's Ross, Paul, and Charlotte. And she's asking him, she's like, why was Harry getting so antsy about being targeted? I don't really understand that. And Paul was like, I mean, it was a bit odd. It was just a little bit weird. And they all were basically like, yeah, it was giving weird. Like, I don't know why he was doing this. And that was that conversation.
I thought it ended there. But it didn't end there, girl. Put a pin in that one.
Girl. So back at the castle, they pull up. Paul and Andrew talk. And they talk about how everybody's going for Jazz. We need to just kind of blend into that. Andrew's new to this. I can tell. Really? I feel like he's looking for a place to go, looking around for a train to go or a place to bus or a bus to go, something. And it's like, girl.
I like it. Every time he talks to him, he's like, I mean, don't chuck me. Don't send me out. Yeah. And Paul's like, no, you're good.
Want to do miles. It's like, yes, honestly, you need to be saying that because he will.
with no hesitation. Fuck up somewhere. Oh, Andrew's getting a little weak for the team. He needs to go.
Child. Paul pulls up to Zach. He asks him who he's voting tonight, which is very weird. I'm talking to Zach. Zach already suspicious of him.
This conversation kind of leads to his embarrassment a little bit, almost, because it's like, girl, why are you even having this loud ass argument? Like, and we saw him do this with Jazz previously. It's like,
yep,
why are
pulling people aside?
Private conversations about their vote and why they think you're a traitor. It's like I said, you have to do a lot of convincing, don't you? It's obvious.
Yeah, you really do. So they're in like the middle of the hallway, and Zach is actually questioning him about who he's gonna vote. I mean, Paul is questioning Zach about who he's gonna vote, and Zach was like, "Look, it's giving you. It's giving you. I'm open to maybe Jazz, but right now it's feeling like you."
And that's one thing I do like about Zach. Zach gonna put it on the
floor. He gonna tell it like it is. He gonna put it on the floor.
He is. If you ask Zach straight up, who you doing? If it's you, bro. What they say? You know, they say yourself. I love that. Well,
they do say yourself.
I love that.
I noticed that. I was like, why do you say yourself? And they'll be having to vote. They'll be like, I did have to vote for yourself. And it's like, yourself? Like,
I love that.
But it kind of is, but it isn't. It's so weird how language works, because yourself means so. When they said it the first time, I noticed it like in these batch of episodes. I feel like I didn't hear it before.
I noticed
but when they said it, I was like, what you mean yourself? I'm confused. And then they'll say their name. They'll be like, yourself, Zach. Yourself, Zach. But it's cute. So Zach is basically like, I'm voting you. So they're out in the hallway. And while they're basically going back and forth, I guess Paul is like defending himself. It's weird because Zach just said, I'm probably going to vote you. And Paul is like, well, why? You know, he's inquiring, and Zach is letting him know. And Paul's getting defensive. He's literally bickering with him about it.
You brought it up. You asked me, and now you're mad. Like, hold on.
Like, what? It's giving guilty. Is it?
And Zach love a good argument, so you know he staying right on it.
Harry walks past and he goes in the room right by, and he sees Evie and Molly in there whispering. And basically they're like, we can hear everything they're saying, so that's what we're doing.
We get this tea.
So Harry, Evie, and Molly are in there listening while Paul and Zach are basically going back and forth and back and forth. So there's that. Paul has a diary about it. He just says like Zach has this. He's hyper focused on me, and he told Zach to his face too. Like, I just think you're stuck on me. Like, I just think you're stuck on this idea of me and woo woo. And it's like, girl, you're guilty. It's showing. Your guilt is showing, isn't it, bro?
It's written all over his face. It's written all over your face.
Okay, maybe I can see you. Well, not his halo.
Right, devil horns, maybe.
I can see your devil horns. We get another conversation with Andrew, Harry, Evie, and Charlotte. They talk about how it's giving Paul. Evie says it's giving Paul. Charlotte says it's giving very Paul, because it was odd that back in the vehicles on our way home,
girl,
he brought up.
She retold this story all wrong.
Girl, I think she forgot. Or
but I don't care what she did. We don't need to put a question mark on God for the period. Because this is the conversation that turns Harry against Paul, which ultimately gets his ass back here. This is the final blow for Paul right here. But her telling this story completely wrong sends the fuck out of me. Because in the car, Jasmine is the one who asks, so what do we all think about, Harry's reactions? When Charlotte is retelling the story, she's like, yeah, it was weird that Paul brought up that Harry felt targeted. And then me and Jasmine, we were like, I mean, it was just like banter. Like, it was just jest. There wasn't anything too serious. It was so weird that Paul brought that up whole time. He didn't bring it up. And all he said was that it was a bit odd.
And that was it.
So Harry was like, oh, he coming for the queen.
And now his time's up.
Period. I gave you bitches 3 kills. Now your time's up.
So Harry had that in the back of his mind going into the round table. He's ready to get it on, letting you know that. So they had
he started exposing his game right there.
He did.
He started immediately. He was like, well, Harry been exposing. He went through the list real quick. And they were like,
he's never said anybody's name at the round table, but except it was Traitors. And when it was Traitors, then he said somebody's name at the round table. But every other round table that there wasn't Traitors, he didn't say anything at all. It was actually giving weird.
It's so suspicious because it's like he's so like.
What was all of this at?
Every other time when he's like throwing out suggestions, it's so I mean, this person said it's like very light, but once like Ash, Miles, and now Paul, it's like he has all these facts and all of these reasons, and he's speaking really, really fast, like he's so sure of it, and it's like literally it's in your face. Like I said about Paul, but Harry is right here in your face doing the same thing. And Andrew's in that conversation, and he's like, "Ooh, I gotta watch."
He's looking sideways.
I gotta watch.
I don't know what to do. But my thing is, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, Andrew?
He ain't doing the damn thing.
What is watching gonna do? Like, you need to be acting. Is what you need to be doing. But he didn't do nothing. So then we head into the round table. Harry is heated. Yummy. They pull up to the round table, and before they start, Claudia, I don't know if this is new. She thought of it on her way there. she says, I want everyone to go around, and it seemed like it came out of the back of her mind because the sentence didn't feel structured. I don't know. Anyway, she's like, I want all of you to go around the table and say, I am a faithful. You go ahead and start, Jasmine, or whoever it was. She said, you start. So they went around and they each said, I am a faithful. What I did notice is the infliction. I'm not a dialect genius, but I did hear a similar infliction with Harry, Paul, and Andrew. They all paused a little bit after they said, I am. Everyone else was like, I'm a faithful. I'm a faithful. They were like, I am a faithful. I am a faithful. And it's like, you're lying. And I hear it in your voice, but I wouldn't have caught that if I was there at all. It was only because I was listening for it, knowing they're traitors, that I was able to notice. Right. It gave y'all all were lying, low key. So if they had an infliction king in there, they would have clocked it.
I mean, when you go to Traitors one day, make sure you remember.
If it's Claudia and she's asking them to say this randomly, and I make it to that round, like, so just in the middle of the season for no reason. What is this?
This is so random.
If I was at a scene, they could have cut that out. But anyways, Charlie starts off. Why does Charlie? Oh my god!
Mind you, I'm thinking, it's going to be everyone on Paul and Jazz, and here goes Charlie talking about Charlotte. Mind you, apparently they best friends.
Girl, they're best friends, which we didn't know until now. But apparently Charlie brings up her best friend Charlotte because Charlotte was defending Miles and she had a conversation with that heated conversation with Zach we was talking about. Apparently Charlie said that was suspicious. I didn't find it suspicious. Charlotte didn't either. She says, look, if I'm having suspicion on somebody, I'm gonna say it. Like, I don't really feel bad for having suspicion on Zach because I have suspicion on Zach. The reason I was reacting to Zach the way that I was reacting is because he was cutting me off after bombarding me with questions. So I was irritated. The reason I defended the drinks is because I had given out drinks and I know I'm a faithful. So it wasn't gifting that. She was very clear, very concise.
Really well.
Yeah, she knew exactly what she knew exactly what was tea because she's a really fake. She's actually a faithful. Right. I don't think Charlotte gives traitor at all.
Me neither.
Honestly, I'm kind of surprised.
The thing is, she got sent home because of the whole recruitment storyline, though.
That's true.
And they were just off on that. You're not gonna that's thing. Y'all can barely guess who the traitors are. I think you'll guess who they fucking recruited.
When it's random and it just happened, like, what evidence are you gonna get for a recruit that just happened yesterday? I don't know.
And that's like, why would you? I don't see why. Like, they were like, oh, well, she's cool with Paul, so he had to have recruited her. Like, that's not how that worked.
That's not how that worked at all. Since when is that the rules? But hey, they just say anything clearly. The fuck. But Charlotte says, I will say, I have thought about why I'm still here. And I feel like it might be because one of the traitors is someone I'm close to. So, Paul, it's giving you.
And then she literally calls him out at the table. And that's another thing I'm getting confused by. People are making these accusations. And it's like, are y'all
They don't forgot everything.
Shit that happened in previous roundtables and shit? Because I'm looking at it. I see it. So how and they were like, well, maybe she was recruited 7. That would mean she was recruited the night before, and then the next day she took out Paul.
That don't even sound right.
Like, she's the first person to call out Paul here,
literally,
and now she's the recruited traitor by Paul.
Paul didn't even go back and forth with her. My thing is, if she was a traitor, Paul would have been mad at her. He wasn't mad at her. He was mad. You know who was mad at? The other traitor.
So he started defending himself against Harry real quick.
But didn't say shit when Charlotte poked up. But anyway, Charlotte was like, yes, it's giving you're a traitor because you're close to me. I'm still here. Don't know why I'm still here. And she says, honestly, you're in a lot of shit. And honestly, thinking back, Paul is in so much shit. You was beefing with Ash. You and Miles had an argument. You've had an argument with Zach, randomly Jazz. It's like, why
breaking
do you
down
always
Ryan? You caught 2 traitors in a row. Like, bitch, you're doing everything.
You're the most popular. What's happening? You're in the dungeon. Why are you in the dungeon?
It's too much. It's too much going on.
Literally every part of the season, you in. Why are you in everything? Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Period.
And Harry says, "This sets me up perfectly." Oh. And I just feel like that gave too specific. I would have been like, you know, too much. But he says, this sets me up perfectly because I'm also suspicious of Paul because I'm thinking, why am I here? And honestly, Paul, I'm close to you, so I'm thinking maybe it's because you're here. Paul is shook as fuck. He's kind of impressed, I feel. He's like, oh, look at my little babe, my little son, my little protege coming at me. Look at that. Look at he's so cute. It's like, Paul, you're sick.
And this is what he lists down that list. He's like, you overcompensate. Your personality outside of the round table is different from when you're in here. You only stick your guy against a traitor. Like, girl, he was going down the list. The dungeon thing was weird. Like, girl, Harry had been taking notes, baby.
Yep. And it's like, of course he was taking notes. He was a part of all of those notes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you were
also brings up. So you also brought up my name, and it's like, well, now you just chucking out names to the reaction. Like, what's that tea?
What's tea? And Paul was like, what? I didn't even do that. It was literally just a random comment. It happened. We weren't even talking about nothing. It was just whatever. And Ross gonna defend his man.
Right.
Damn. Every time. And Ross was like, actually, Jasmine came up with that question, and we were just saying whatever. It was just nothing. It really wasn't nothing. You could tell Harry was like, ooh.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, did Harry low-key regret doing this? Because what only made him comfortable doing it is the thought that Paul brought it up. Paul did not bring it up. In fact, from all of Paul's confessionals, he had not been plotting on Harry at all. Now, that doesn't say he's not going to do it in the future. I 100% think he would have, but he definitely wasn't doing it now.
Yeah. So this was Jazz's chance because Jazz always waits for the right moment. He see all the heat on Paul. So Jazz hops up. He says, look, I've always had my suspicions on you. And Jazz really has. Jazz was the first. Was he the first? Yeah, so. Jazz was the first person to clock Paul 100% on the second round table, I believe, second or third.
Yeah,
but he says he's always had
him.
And he feels really suspicious because it seems like Paul always puts all of his eggs in one basket. You went so hard, so confidently against Miles. How did you know so much about that situation unless you're a traitor? And it's like, girl, ding, ding, ding. Well, actually, I don't need to say that to Jazz because it ding, ding for Jazz. Jazz got that on that. But everybody else needs to listen. Please. God damn it.
They also annoying ass. He's like, well, no, he wasn't the only one who was 100% on Miles. A lot of us was too. It's like, he's such a terrible goddamn traitor.
Zach also, you know what I will say about Zach? I think Zach is a good. I like Zach when he's right because here he also says that you brought up Diane as the reason, but you also had so many other reasons that were already in the back of your mind. And it's like, why did you present it that way if you had all these other reasons? You're only bringing up Diane. It just gives traitor. And it's like, that really does.
Because really you know what, with Zach, I think Zach has very specific arguments that only work if he's right. If you're wrong, your specific argument sounds stupid as hell.
That's what it is, actually. He goes based off of, you know how some people go based off random things that grasp at straws? Yeah. I don't even think Zach grasps at straws. Zach just talks. Literally. He just thinks of something
and comes to the conclusion.
It, and that's going to be what that is. Molly hops in. She says she's not sure about Paul. They all getting their ones, girl. Yeah. They're getting everybody getting their lick in. Literally.
I love that. I love that moment.
He
was like, you can see his face. He's like, oh. Like he kept looking around the table.
But it's okay. He got his man. He got shooters.
Right. Ross was like, hold on.
Wait. Because it's just becoming a witch hunt. It's just a lot going on. Like, I just feel like, Harry, I understand your reason. Like, I think you're making sense, but I just don't think Paul is a traitor. I just don't think Paul is a traitor.
He avenged your mama.
Because he avenged his mom. He's like, he thinks it's Jazz because Jazz hasn't voted for either. He hasn't voted Miles. He hasn't voted Ash. So he was like, Jazz's behavior is weird, and he hasn't voted any of the traitors. Jazz is like,
look. He's like, what happened to the Ross, Jasmine, and Jazz trio? Let's bring that back. They would have been such a. If they stayed together, they would have been a smart trio.
They would have. They needed each other, but the niggas were being weird.
Because they was clocking look,
Jazz didn't do the greatest. But listen, at the beginning, I was down with what Jazz was doing because Jazz was like, "Look, my behavior has remained the same. I've always just gone with my gut."
My gut.
And Zach was like, "Child," and I said, Zach asked him why he didn't vote Miles then when there was stone cold evidence.
I was like, and
Jazz was like,
"What?"
Jazz was like,
"This is an example of like, this is an example of like." You're wrong here. Like, he's not a traitor. So what you're saying isn't making any sense. Because like I don't know. Like, you can't use the argument we have stone cold evidence on Miles and you didn't vote him and that was weak. Like, that's one, you don't have stone cold evidence on anybody. Like, just because you believe it don't mean shit.
Child. Jazz was like, we did the same thing with Anthony, and everybody kind of piped up and they was like, well, no, this is totally different. This is totally different. There was a drink involved. It was direct. We knew Miles was the thing. And Jazz basically getting attacked. He getting jumped. And then his bestie, Jasmine, jumps in.
And that's
I'm not in the shape. Of course my man is nervous. He thought that was his clique. That was his
clique.
Man. He did. For him. Like, my man was scared. He was nervous. We're not going to know. But Jasmine,
and it was wrong at that.
Jasmine's like, well, why'd you stray away from the group then? Like, I think that's weird that you strayed away from the group. And it's like, what? I'm talking about, and then Paul in the corner
makes no sense.
Makes no sense. And Jazz was like, "What, nigga? Jazz said, "What, nigga?"
Hello?
Like that. That's exactly what he said.
That's exactly what he said. And Paul was like, "Well, it makes no sense."
And Jazz was like, "Of course it don't make no sense to you. You want to deflect."
And he goes, Zach. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense. I mean, shut up.
Was Zach? Shut up, then.
Shit. Damn. Make that make sense.
Andrew calls Jazz out about
Andrew, shut the hell up. Damn, I'm so sick of Andrew. Because this is the only thing he talks about. Jazz wrote his name down randomly, and he was wrong at the time. And now you're stuck on that. I'm over it.
He's not going to get over it ever. Child. So Jazz was like, look. Jazz's reason was like, the way you were acting, it just sounded like he was a traitor at the time. And it's like, what?
I wouldn't have
talking about. I will say he started losing me here because I'm like,
right here. I was like, King, no.
Zach was like, I don't want to vote you, but you're making it hard. Like, it just doesn't seem right. It really doesn't. Ross is jumping in.
Mind you, Paul ain't gonna say shit. Paul quiet. He crickets on this part.
And then this is when Jazz wants to bring other people up. And when you bring other people up, it's like you look guilty. You look like you're deflecting.
The key word is deflect because
then it's too
about
obvious
this one thing and you bring out random shit.
Jazz was like, also, during the mission, it's just interesting how Evie and Molly never spoke up about about Paul. And they're like, what?
And they never had the courage before to do so.
And it's like everyone knows Evie and Molly are faithful. What are you doing right now?
My girl, what are you doing? Deflection. The girl was confused.
What are you doing right now?
And I got scared. Everybody basically wrapped up here.
He doesn't even think, but that's the thing, he doesn't even think they're traitors. I don't know why he brought that up. He's never once said he thinks they're traitors. So it's like, why are you even saying this? You're deflecting. But that's the thing, he actually is just deflecting rather than bringing up an actual traitor like Paul. But so we end up wrapping that up.
And it was like a nervous deflection too. It was just like, oh, and Evie and Molly, like what?
What? Child. So we wrap up. We get to the vote.
I thought it was over for Jazz. I was like, this.
I did too. It was pretty close because Paul voted Jazz, Charlie voted Jazz, and then we got a bunch of people voting Paul, and I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
Even
Andrew voted Jazz. And it's like
Andrew and Ross also voted Jazz. So it's like 4 of the people voted Jazz. And then I think the other 6 voted Paul. So it was still a close vote, actually. But Paul ends up getting voted out. He steps up to the podium. He says, I love this. I love that I was able to play this. This was the best experience I had in my life. And I'm a traitor. and they was
that's right.
They were elated. Everybody ran to Harry and gave him a hug.
Was this not deja vu? Was this not the exact same thing that happened to what's the name? Paul the night before
when he got out Miles?
Exact same scenario. It's like all Harry did was continue the cycle, and now it's all on him. So they're saying the exact same thing about Harry now, because it's right there in their faces. Like you were right just as sure about Ash, Miles, and now Paul. It's shady. It's definitely shady, and it's like then when a traitor is caught, he's all confused. Every time he's throwing out like someone else that's not a traitor, it's like the most simple, basic shit. He only has a full thought out argument when it's a traitor, because he knows.
Because he knows. Child. So after this, Harry gets celebrated, and he goes back to the house and he starts planting some more seeds.
Right, girl.
Because
he clocked in. Girl, he said that's what he. That's the thing. It's like, girl, you wanted to be Paul this entire time.
Yep.
And he had another confessional too. He's like, it's annoying that they're all praising Paul, like saying he's the best.
He does say that.
Which because Charlotte called him the best trader ever, and a few of the other ones did. Girl, 3 Fields, please watch. 1, 2. He's like, oh yeah, they're saying that about Paul, and I'm sat right here. I can't wait to reveal it when I win. It's like he's so cocky, and I feel like I didn't get cocky from him, and now I'm getting that.
Yeah, he wanted to be the it girl the whole time.
He did. He looked at Paul from the sidelines like, bitch, that's my role. Nah, he the queen of the Traitors.
It's giving Regina George and Katie Heron.
Oh,
he started off right. He started
off.
Oh
my god! And Ash Regina and Miles is Janice and homeboy.
Instead of Traitors, it should be called a Mean Girls, child. But no, literally like this was this it girl. He's so popular. Everyone loves him. Everyone wants to hear what he has to say. Woo to woo to woo. And Harry's this good guy who turns bad, who takes his spot, pushes him in front of the bus.
Oh my God. He pushed Harry. He literally did. Harry pushed him up under that bus.
Child. And now he's the new Regina.
Period.
And Andrew is elastics. And Andrew is Karen.
Andrew is Karen.
So anyways, the Traitors go and meet. It's just Andrew and Harry now. Andrew said he's going to keep an eye out for Selena, but we know that means nothing.
Yeah.
Harry said, look, I trusted Paul, but he said, I never really trusted Paul anyways. And it's like, what's interesting about this is that's what y'all said about Ash. Y'all kind of said about Miles. And it's like, when does the cycle end? If I was Andrew, I wouldn't give a fuck what you said. I don't care what you trusted, who you trust. You're going to vote me out. You gotta go.
Actions speak louder than words. Point blank, period.
So they end up deciding that they need to murder somebody. So they're going to go ahead and murder someone. They're deciding between Charlie and Zach, but they kind of feel like Zach is someone who could end up getting sus on him. So leaning towards Charlie, child. And it's like, child, not Charlie. Not
Charlie. She was so sad about not getting the shield too.
She was. Oh my God, that's sad.
It was like foreshadowing down.
It was. Oh, that's sad.
She knew.
Harry says he does trust Andrew right now. And if Andrew were to buck up against him, it wouldn't matter because I just murder him too. I'd put him 6 feet under real quick.
I did it 3 times before. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I heard something.
He had your pussy.
Oh, I heard something purring a little bit, a tad.
Child, and this leads us into episode 9. We start off at breakfast. The girls start coming in. Charlotte is like, look, she thinks Jasmine could have been recruited. And she said she was sure it was Jazz at first, but now, that Jasmine was sure it was Jazz at first, but then at the table, she went for Paul. So this whole theory that Charlotte has is that Jasmine kept saying Jazz's name before they went to the round table. And when they got to the round table, she went for Paul. So Charlotte is confused about that, and she's spreading that around. Ross is saying he doesn't feel like Jazz is a traitor anymore. And Ross keeps doing this. Every time a traitor is voted out, if someone went against them, he's 100% sure they're faithful. He did it with Paul and was wrong. So even though Jazz is a faithful, I don't know why he's doing it again with Jazz. He just does the same thing every time. But he's saying Jazz is definitely not a traitor, which he isn't, because he targeted Paul from the beginning. And Molly was like, well, I mean, he could have been recruited, honestly. And Jasmine was like, look, if I'm being honest, I was a traitor. I'm not recruiting Jazz. So they're trying to spread that around, but I feel like that's going to get deaded very soon. So they see Charlie come in. She doesn't arrive. Or they see that Charlie doesn't come in. She's not here. So they know Charlie was killed. Boom. Everybody say goodbye to Charlie. Goodbye, Charlie. Period.
Goodbye, Charlie.
Goodbye, Charlie.
I mean, honestly,
Period.
Charlie girl. Honestly,
literally goodbye. No,
I didn't think this was a smart move for Harry because Charlie was one of those people that you could take to the end and she wasn't gonna clock him. Like Charlie didn't even vote against Paul. She felt like Paul and Harry were both 100% faithful. I don't think that she would have turned on him. I really don't. Because I feel like he didn't get out. That's what I'm saying. Like, especially because it was between Zach and Charlie. I think Zach should have went here. Zach is too inquisitive. So even though he is wrong a lot, he can fall on the right answer because he's always thinking. He gotta go.
Yeah, that's very true. He just did. He got out Paul. Well, he was a part of it.
I mean, yeah. Like if you get out Zach here, they're only like she's so quiet about it, you know. Like Jazz is gonna go too soon after that. Like if they would have kept Charlie and took out Zach, I think it definitely could have been a steamroll. I think it is in general, but it would have been more.
So when that very similar to Paul, when they find out that Charlie was murdered and not Harry, Molly has a diary room and she's like, oh, well, if I was a traitor, I would have just voted Harry. So clearly they just messed up. The traitors are stupid. The traitors got to be dumb because wouldn't you vote out Harry? Harry's the one who caught all the traitors so far. So they're just so silly. Those silly traitors. They don't know anything.
And I was saying this to Pharaoh on the phone. Like,
what?
I just feel like if you have a thought, then you should be looking at all angles. Like, this is a game where you're trying to guess the traitor. So if you're like, this doesn't make any sense. Why didn't Harry die? I feel like the natural next thought should be Harry could be a traitor. No?
Yeah.
Like, if there's anything suspicious or odd that sticks out that make you go, that doesn't make any sense. Why did that happen? It's probably because it's being affected somehow by a traitor. In a situation like this, it's very simple. It's just Harry.
Literally, bro.
But the thing is, Molly is someone that's really, really close with Harry, and Harry even says that too. Like they have a really close relationship, and that's what really fucks them up because people don't want to see the bad when you really like someone and enjoy their presence and want to be around them, you know. And that's the issue with this game because if you're able to actually just be a great social player, there's no way you don't win because people will literally ignore red flags right in your face if they like you.
Yep. So there's a group of people in the kitchen. Jasmine is there, and Jazz and Molly are there too. And Jasmine asked them, "How many traitors do y'all think are left in the game?" And Jazz was like, "Look, I got a lot of theories. I got a lot of stuff that I could share, but I just feel like I don't know. I'm gonna share it with a few people." Molly asked Jazz his thoughts, and Jazz was like, "We can talk a little later. We can talk a little later about it, and we'll have a chat alone." And Molly brings this up later on. So I guess this is important. Right? That's always kind of like.
I did like that was kind of shady though. I was like, why are you telling a group of people I want to talk to people privately? And then if we don't talk later, I'm like, well, clearly you didn't talk to me.
He usually does that. He's done that a while because I remember he didn't announce it, but I remember a while back Charlie was with him when he first scoped out Paul. Charlie was like in a group of him and Ross and Jasmine or something, and then when Charlie walked away. That's when he told them he was suspicious of Paul. I think it's a smart strategy. I think that's kind of what's helped him get him so far because he's been right a lot. But the traitors haven't really had the chance to take him out because he's very particular about when he reveals his cards. But why are you telling everybody that? Like that's just not good, honestly. So that was weird. Jazz then goes to talk in private as he wants to Zach and Evie alone. And he lets them know that he's thinking two specific people. He thinks Ross because Ross defended Paul. And I understand why he would think Ross because Ross has defended damn near every traitor, seemed like. Yeah. And he's been wrong.
I feel like that's low-hanging fruit. I just like something that in your face it can't be it. I'd be like, I mean, why would he defend him? Like, that's not smart.
If he was actually a traitor, he wouldn't have done that.
That's how I would think. Like, you should know by Traitor Season 2, like, all these versions that you don't defend the other traitor if they're going out. And I mean, that's the thing. Someone like Andrew did, and they ain't looking at Andrew.
Literally. And then he thinks it's Harry because back in the day, Paul pressed Jazz about some tea Harry gave him. Harry was the one who told Paul that Jazz was touched of him. And Paul pressed Jazz about that and told him Harry told him. And so, knowing Paul is a traitor officially, Jazz is like, I think it's Harry. Because why was that information shared between the two of them? And here go Abby and Zach. Well, they were just friends at the time.
Especially Zach, Mr. Think about fucking everything. What do you mean?
What do you
like?
mean?
And nothing. Abby gets on board later on, but Zach, he hasn't come around at least yet. And I'm just like, Zach, like, you be overanalyzing anything, and you don't think that's something to look into? But it's like he's all suspicious of Jazz, and that's the problem. Because they don't know how to fully feel about Jazz.
Why are you suspicious of Jazz? I don't think the Jazz one makes any sense. Oh, they start saying Jazz was recruited, doesn't they?
But that doesn't even make any sense, because they will also say that would also mean that Paul recruited Jazz, and then Jazz turned on him the same night, same day. And then
you know what they said, and they kind of said that at breakfast. Jasmine was like, "Why would he be recruited anyways?" And they was like, "Well, maybe to throw him under the bus." And they was like, "It's not giving that." Like they kind of already cleared that up. So the fact that Zach is still thinking about it, it's like, you stupid.
It gets brought up later too, like, and it's like, what are y'all talking about? He's been saying this man's name since like day 2.
He was the first to bring it
up. Paul voted Jazz day 1.
Literally, I think he voted Jazz 2 times. It was day 1, and then again later, or 3 times. Actually, he was voting Jazz a lot.
Like they really
that was suspicious too.
That's the thing. That's suspicious, but not this like actual information being spread from one person to another. Like whatever.
Charlotte spreads her Jasmine theory. She's telling Ross and Harry that she can't get past Jasmine wanting to vote for Jazz, but then voting for Paul. It just gives some a traitor.
And that, like this entire argument pissed me the fuck off.
Oh Lord.
Does duality not exist? Can she not think one thing and think another? Can she not be in between two people? It's very clear as she was like, "It's Jazz of Hall. I'm gonna just go with Hall." Why is that? I don't get that. And they were like, because why did you argue Jazz and then voted Paul? That's what everyone were doing. That's literally what a lot of people did at the table.
Mm-hmm. Literally.
Molly,
so Jasmine,
whatever.
Jasmine hears them talking, and they walk in. Jasmine and Molly walk in, and Jasmine presses her. She's like, "What are y'all thinking?" Because I'm thinking Charlotte. I'm thinking Charlotte's vote. Right. Like, well, that's funny. Charlotte was like, "That's funny," because I was thinking her, and Jasmine was like, "That's funny. That's real funny." It's like, it is funny. Child. But Molly says, "I do feel like Charlotte would be a good recruit. Charlotte, I do think you would be a good recruit." And I think both of these accusations, Charlotte and Jasmine, are people who everyone thought was a faithful for a while, and they only think they're a traitor now that they know someone was recruited. And that's why the recruit shit is kind of fucked up, because it just makes it even harder, because Jasmine and Charlotte would have never, I feel like, been suspected until they knew someone was recruited. So now they're suspecting these stupid ass ideas. This is so stupid. This is just stupid as fuck. But anyways, they're basically clocking each other, saying they're suspicious of each other, that both of them could be recruited. Congratulations. Then we get to the mission. At the mission, this is fun. This mission seemed fun to me. So that's good. It's just the lack of meaning in the missions just throws it off.
I don't need them. You just give me an hour of them talking shit about each other. I would be fine.
Because it's like it's just nothing really. But anyways, they're at this cabin in the woods, and in the cabin in the woods, underneath it, there's a bunch of tunnels. And so their goal is to go through the tunnels, go through different passageways to find the coins or to find the pounds, and then bring them out. And so at the end, you can collect the money. Of course, in there's going to be a shield. So if you get the shield, you're safe. Wonderful. It was fun. I feel like they had a lot of fun. I wouldn't have been able to do it. I'm claustrophobic, so I would have been up in that cabin. Me and
tried to get in there. He was like, "It's too big," and it's like, girl. Because I'm not necessarily like claustrophobic. Like I don't think about that. But like, if I'm definitely in a tight space like that, I could see myself being like, I don't want to like maneuver down here. Like, it's too much. And it was dark down there.
Yeah, no.
They had raw sewage. Raw sewage. No, they had like not raw. It wasn't nothing raw. It was like rotten vegetables and water and centipedes, all type of crazy shit.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't do it, me personally. But they were in there digging for it, and they came across a shield. Charlotte saw it first, and she couldn't find it. I think it was dark at the time that she was looking, so she couldn't find it. And then she left and she just continued on with the mission. And we see that Harry sees it. So he sees the shield and he grabs it. And when he puts it in his pocket, Molly sees him, but they're besties. So he tells Molly, shh, don't say nothing. So Molly agrees. She's like, look, I'm best friends with Harry. That's my nigga or whatever.
And
so
I'm just
I ain't
like, girl, he's showing it right in front of your face. Like, he can be shady. Like, he could, like,
traitorous,
in this maybe. Like, whatever.
Use your noggin, babes. So
that's not for
when they finish, I guess, girl. When they finish the challenge, he doesn't reveal to anyone that he's the one who got the shield, and we see that he has a diary room explaining that he wants to use this to his advantage later. So we're gonna see. Put a pin in that because he's gonna use it to his advantage later. And honestly, like I like that he's thinking. I just don't know what he's thinking. You know what I mean? Like, right. I like that you're doing it. It's just I wouldn't have done all of this, whatever you're doing.
I will. When he explains the plan, I'm like, okay, I actually see this. But
yes, because this is the one where he's trying to. Because basically, at the morning, wasn't Molly like, I don't understand? Yeah, Molly was literally just like, I don't understand how you're not dead. So this is his way to give them a reason on why he's not dead. Basically, this round.
I just don't. I just think like. They shouldn't. They basically for this to work, they have to recruit someone. So you recruit someone and pretend like you did it, and that he was actually killed, and he just had the shield. But it's like I just feel like it's too risky to recruit someone else. It really is, especially because the person thing they're recruiting want to go against his ass. So it's like I don't know. I just feel like that's too dodgy.
Period. So back at the castle, we see Ross, Evie, Charlotte, and Jazz. They kind of talk about who they're going to vote. And Ross mentions that Harry could be a traitor. Evie kind of agrees. They're like, he's really smart. I feel like he's someone who could figure it out. And he was very sure about Paul. Similar to how Paul was very sure about Miles. They're catching on. They're clocking on. And that's like, yeah, it's giving borderline psychic the amount of information he knew. It's giving.
Girl, because it gave laundry list of tea.
But Jazz mentions he needs to be very specific and strategic about when he's going to go for Harry and when he reveals his thoughts on that. So he's going to continue to do that. And that's why I like Jazz, because not many faithfuls, I feel like, have strategy. And we've seen all season Jazz be very specific, very strategic, very just conscious of when he's going to say something, how he's going to say something. Like, I think he will be, honestly, a good traitor, probably. Well, I feel like he's so shady and dodgy that he's probably a better faithful. Like if Jazz ever were to win something, he could win this season. I don't know. He's still in the game. If Jazz does ever win, he will win as a faithful, I feel, because he's capable of scoping the scene, bitch, period. We see a few people discuss who got the shield. They don't know who has the shield, so Harry's plan is working, I guess. I feel like your plan doesn't have to hide the fact that he has the shield for the plan to work. So I don't know why he's hiding it. That's kind of weird now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, if he tells everyone that he has a shield, then the traitors just won't even.
Oh, the traitors would never have. That's what it is. Okay, come on, thinker. But also, it seems so specific now that I'm thinking about it. I feel like if he were to tell me, because I'm pretty sure Harry's the type to explain it, because he explained everything about Paul's game. So I'm pretty sure tomorrow he's going to be like, you know what? I had the shield and I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want the traitors to know that I had the shield, so that I knew they would vote for me. And when they would vote for me, they wouldn't be hitting anybody because I tied that the fact. It's like, of course you.
And Claudia's not going to reveal that someone was recruited or not. So it's like.
It's so specific.
I feel like small stuff like that would also just help the faithful. Like if someone recruited, tell them. You know, don't tell them the amount. They never know the amount of traitors it is. But if someone's recruited, tell them.
Yeah, a traitor was. When Claudia comes in, instead of saying someone was voted out, just say a traitor. Another member was recruited as a traitor tonight. Boom. Now they know. They're aware. They still don't know how many traitors. I think that's good. You come up with good ideas. Put Lee on the team, y'all.
Give me a check. Fine, Lee.
Give him a check. Jasmine talks about she asked Andrew who does he think for the vote, and Andrew says Jazz. He wants to push Jazz because Jazz keeps saying his name. This is some bullshit. I'm tired of it, honestly.
Yeah.
But that's what
he doesn't even do at the round table, which is so like
he flips his entire script, and it's like we were suspicious of Jasmine for doing the same thing. So you just said right before Jazz, and you went to the round table and said the opposite. Because he's actually a traitor. But that's the thing. It's like maybe they're right about Jasmine because he's actually a traitor and he just did the same thing. And it's like, we know why he did the same thing. He's a fucking traitor. or is he just a bad? He probably would have did this as a faithful too. That's the issue with Andrew.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like he hasn't really changed at all. That's the problem.
That's honestly T. He became a traitor and just continued to act like a faithful. A bad faithful.
He's a faithful through and through. Yeah, because he was always a bad faithful. He was defending Paul before he even knew.
Literally. Harry talks to Zach and Jazz, and Harry is basically throwing Charlotte under the bus. He's like, Charlotte is very sus. She's very overreacting to a lot of things. He's doing the most. So clearly he's pushing the Charlotte narrative. And I will say about Harry.
Oh, you got it.
What you thought of it?
I thought it was interesting. I was like, I didn't expect this from him. I just thought it was like, I don't know. Anytime I'm seeing like a traitor like break open a door of strategy in this game, I'm just like, that's a bit much, no? Like, I just like the idea should always be cost little.
Just let somebody else come up with something.
Especially right before the round table. Like, why are you telling them this secret information that you didn't tell anyone else? I feel like once again it's just kind of opening up. Well, this person is obviously very capable of keeping secrets and lying to people.
Yep, very much so. Harry's very active. I think it's interesting.
And
he's been active at a lot of the round tables.
He wasn't like he was like under like Paul's like whole thing. So it didn't like look as threatening, but now it's like you're the main one running around here doing shit now.
Yep, literally.
But
this was the last conversation.
It doesn't even matter.
Oh, Zach talking about some he can 100% trust Harry. I hope he was lying to his face or something, because what are you talking about? But hey, we move.
And he also
so Harry tells us
Jazz was also very interesting too.
I was thinking, why are you going for Charlotte and not Jazz? I did not understand that at all, really. I feel like Jazz is
because Charlotte is also someone who I think probably would have still believed Harry
ended the game. Ended the game.
Like,
Jazz is not in
Jazz and Zach here. Jazz and Zach do not need to be here for your game.
Yep. I agree 100%. And now they're in top 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's top 8. He's recruiting somebody. So the game is finna end. The game is about to end very soon. And you have a few people here, Evie, Jazz, and Zach. And even Jasmine, I don't think will end the game. You are now at the end with a bunch of faithfuls who won't just end the game easily. You took out all the ones who would end it easily, I feel. Honestly. Like Evie, Jazz.
I feel like even with the combination of people, like Molly wouldn't. Like, it's too, like...
Even Molly would. It's like, I don't think anyone is going to just end this game and give Harry that money. I think and I think I said this earlier, I think a faithful could win this season. I really do. I really do. I'm rooting for Jazz. That's my man, period.
Right.
Harry lets us know the specifics of his plan. His plan is to recruit and then pretend he was supposed to be murdered. We know that. So boom. We go to the round table. At the round table, we started off with Lee's best friend, Zach. And he says, look, based on the fact that Paul was a traitor and he must have recruited somebody, it's given. And this is the thing. This is the thing. It's so, even that sentence alone is so specific. That's what you were saying about Zach. He's very specific and particular. And it's like, it's just, sure, Jan. That's what Zach gives me. Okay, you can have it.
You got it.
Charlotte says, look, I know y'all think it's me. It's not me. We need to be looking at people that Paul was beefing with, whoever he was having disagreements with. They were like who? And she was like, well, like Jazz. He was beefing with Jazz a lot. Zach was like, look, it's not Jazz. So anybody else? Who else? Charlotte was like...
Or like even saying that, like you can't be sure it's not Jazz. Like...
Exactly. It's so weird. But anyways, Charlotte then just throws out her Jasmine thing. She feels like Jasmine could have been recruited, especially because she went hard at Jazz, but then she voted Paul, and I found that very weird. She explains that over again. Jasmine was like, Jasmine rebuttals. And she was like, what? I was just in between Jazz and Paul. I decided to go with Paul. Paul was my initial thought. That's what I ended up doing. And Charlotte was like, well, no, like, I just feel like, of course you're going to defend yourself because you were accused of it. But in the moment, you were going for Jazz and then you voted for Paul. It doesn't make sense. So they started bickering. They started going off.
She said,
saying anything.
She says, I'm sorry, Charlotte. When you were speaking, did I interrupt you?
That was funny. that was so
I love hearing it in their accents because I feel like it's just so classy. Excuse me, Charlotte.
Charlotte was getting defensive, and she was like, "Well, yeah, I'm gonna get defensive because I know I'm a faithful, and I'm just passionate about this." And and it's like, it's hard because it seems like every faithful does get very defensive, but defensiveness seems suspicious,
shady.
It does. It seems dodgy.
It's about how you get defensive. I feel like if you're too, I feel like Charlotte, to me, it wasn't even giving like Aggie type of suspicious. Like she was good, but like a lot of people, they get like so antsy about it.
Mm-hmm. Molly talks about Charlie and Charlotte being so close. She was like, "It's interesting that you and Charlie were very close, but Charlie came for you at the table. It's like that's supposed to be your bestie, and now you're still saying like that's your bestie, that's your bestie." I feel like maybe she recruited you, and you took her ass out. And Charlotte was like, "It's not giving that. It's not giving that at all. I'm sorry." Then Molly brings up that with Jazz, she feels like it's confusing with Jazz because earlier in the day, you told me you wanted to break off into a group and talk to me separately. And it's like talking in private chats, that's just weird. And Jazz tries to explain that's just how I like to have conversations because I want to only share my thoughts with people I trust and then get thoughts back from the people that I trust. Yeah. And Molly was
I didn't like him saying this at the table because I just feel like this is a stupid. Like you're saying to everyone at the table who you don't have these conversations with are like, well, he ain't talking to me
at all. So you don't trust me. Like what? Mind you, I'm a faithful. Like if I'm faithful and you don't trust me, it's like so you're right. I don't know. It's just so he tries to explain it again. It doesn't really make sense. I feel I don't like that he had the conversation at the table either. But hey, he did. Andrew bucks up and he says, "This is my thing. I'm expecting Andrew to jump on it with Molly and be like, okay, Jazz. Andrew speaks and he's like, you know what? Honestly, like I be doing the same thing, Jazz. So I get you. Like I don't even think you're a traitor." I was like, what?
What?
Who are you gonna vote? Now that's dodgy.
Especially because the entire episode, it was I'm going like not even outside to other people. It was in the confessional. I'm going after Jazz. I don't trust Jazz. Jazz put my name out. Like what? I don't understand Andrew at all. I'm not even gonna try to. Let's move on.
So Jasmine asks, does anybody else have anything to say? And Zach brings up the same thing.
Yeah, and this pisses me off because he's like,
same thing again.
If so, he was like, I hate how he forms this because it's like, yeah, like I want to bring up you teetering between Paul and Josh because if I was teetering between Paul and Josh, I would end up voting Josh. Mm-hmm. What kind of sentence is that? Like, it doesn't matter how you would have voted if you were teetering. I voted this way because I was teetering. And my thing is, Zach, you were teetering. Did you not say out of your own mouth? I mean, you're making it really hard to not vote you tonight, Jazz. What? Everyone was teetering.
Zach was not even. I think I'm pretty sure Zach felt personally hurt by Jasmine not explaining her thoughts to him because if you remember on episode 3 or something. When Zach was about to get votes, he went to Jasmine because they were very close. And he was like, Jasmine, they're about to vote me. Help me. And Jasmine had a diary room. And she said, me and Zach are real cool, but I see why other people are suspicious of them. I think he felt hurt. Like, you're supposed to be my friend. And you didn't tell me that. Because he kept mentioning,
he kept saying,
you didn't tell me. You didn't tell me. And it's like, why are you mentioning that? He's just mad that she didn't tell him the information.
I will say, we've been watching, like, unless it's edited differently, it's not like it's something that's been on the top of her head. Like, she's been everywhere else.
Exactly.
But it's like you're definitely hindering too much on like, you're not telling me. Like what? And then Jasmine gets defensive. But I think it's the same thing that happened in his argument with Charlotte. It's like you're asking stupid questions, you're reiterating and cutting me off with even dumber questions. I'm not even defensive. I'm just annoyed at this point.
Exactly. So we get to the vote. And a few people vote Jasmine. No, Charlotte votes Jasmine. Zach votes Jasmine. And Molly votes Jazz. Everybody else votes Charlotte. So Charlotte ends up going home. Of course, she tells them that she was a faithful. They were wrong. They're about to lose the damn game. Goddamn. And then we see, and I think this confirms because we see Jasmine and Zach. They kind of seem like they want to have a conversation and hash it out because I think they're friends. So they went to talk. And basically, Jasmine's like, that's just something you could have talked to me outside of the table from if we cool. And Zach was like, look, I don't know. I just feel like the way you had said it, your older suspicions, but you never told me about your older suspicions. I don't get that. Like, I don't know why you did that. And it's like, that's what it is. He's just mad she didn't tell him about her suspicions.
Because it's his thought process. Like, the suspicious thing is that she was suspicious of two people. She argued one and voted the other. I still don't understand what the issue is. Like you're trying to cover a vote swap, and it's like, why would I have to do all of that to cover a vote swap? Everyone didn't even vote Paul that night. I could have just not voted Paul. I just
I think he's just.
And now she really about to go home based on this stupid ass theory. Unfortunately, like I would be shocked if she's not banished next. Like, I'm pretty sure she would. It's so fucking stupid. Like y'all got to get your head out of your asses for real. Because one, they're not even recruiting any women. That's the real gag.
Why did Claudia gag him? Oh my god, you know we're gonna get there. They talk about Andrew, Harry, Ross, and Evie. They talk about that. They definitely think Paul was somebody who recruited somebody. So they're trying to figure out who it was that he recruited, and that we don't know if he would really try to take out 2 people in a row or 3 people in a row. I feel like all their thoughts are just wrong and stupid. I'm sorry. I feel like everything they say, I'm like, y'all not even talking about nothing. Who do y'all think it is? Like, what's going on? I just don't get it. But they start questioning Jasmine's reaction. They feel like Jasmine's reaction gave traitor. Andrew's pushing this, and Harry is pushing this, of course, because they are traitors. And Evie was like, I don't know, she was very calm, like she felt good. And Ross has a diary room, and he says Jasmine will be a great traitor. She has the great characteristics of a great traitor. And of course, Ross is always wrong. So there's that. On that.
My sister's down the floor because bitches is stupid.
So what to expect? Literally. The fuck. We see Jazz throwing out his Ross idea again. He feels like Ross's relationship with Paul is the reason that he might have been recruited. So he's throwing that out to a couple of people already. And Harry's also in this room. So Harry has that tea that Ross is getting sussed on. And I feel like that's what leads to this next situation. So everyone leaves. They go to the Traitors turret. And at the Traitors turret, Andrew and Harry are there alone. And Andrew says he doesn't see the benefit in recruiting anyone. But Harry lets him know his plan. He says, this is the thing. People are going to be suspicious of me not getting voted out. So my plan is to say that I have the shield, which I do, and that they weren't able to kill me. So the only way we can make that happen is if we recruit someone. Andrew's like, okay, I'll go with the plan, because Andrew doesn't have a backbone and didn't say, I don't give a fuck, which he could low-key. And they talk about who they can recruit. They mention Jasmine, but they know Jasmine's probably going to get voted out tomorrow. And so they decide that it should be Ross. They feel like Ross will be turned on by the Faithfuls before either of them. So it's a good way to set it up. And when Claudia walks in and they tell Claudia, she's like, oh, another man. And honestly, I feel like it was an accident. I don't think she meant to say that out loud to them. I think she was like thinking because like, why did you say this to them? And then they were like, oh, I mean, we didn't mean it. She was like, well, no, I mean.
Well, yes, she did.
And like, we're just playing it. You just got to play the game. You got to play the game. And it's like, she's clocking them low-key.
Real quick, they deserve.
But yeah, so Ross enters the turret. And when he enters, all he's been thinking about is his mama. So when he enters the turret, they tell him all the tea. They tell him the tea about the past the past traitors that they've voted out. Of course, he's looking like, okay, y'all voted them out because. And then he asked them, okay, so what about y'all decisions of who y'all have been murdering? And they're like, well, who are you thinking about? And he's like, well, what about Diane? Who was that on that?
Which is like a random one.
Literally. Harry was kind of like, I mean, she was bucking up. Like, she was getting too much off her dick.
So they had to put her in her place.
So we had to put her in her place. And Ross was like, oh, put her in her place.
Period.
Interesting.
Noted.
That's all he needed to know. And he had a diary room. He said, look, I'm gonna get revenge from my mama.
He better not be pump faking. Like, you better actually get revenge. Like, if you come in here like Andrew and say that, and then because by the end of this episode, Andrew's like, yeah, I'm just deciding I'm just gonna stick it out with Harry. And it's like, what?
Mm-hmm.
So Ross, girl, you better be really on his neck. Okay? Mm-hmm. You know people are suspicious of him.
Is he gonna be on his neck though? I don't know.
I feel like he could just be.
People are mostly suspicious of Ross and Harry right now, other than Jasmine. She can go home. But Ross and Harry are like the big two. So I feel like it's just gonna be each of them trying to get the other out, which is crazy. But my thing is, if y'all just make them get out another traitor, they're gonna be like, when is the game over? We got out 4 traitors in a row? Damn.
Literally. Like, I mean, should they keep recruiting?
They keep recruiting.
If this little recruitment fake out works, then they're definitely losing. I feel because like there's no way they're gonna be able to work that out. I feel.
Yeah, I agree. It's very difficult to assume. Like they just think it's 2 traitors, and of course they do. It's like we've killed 5 of them.
Right,
Are
girl.
there more than
how many traitors you gonna kill?
We've killed Ash, Miles, Paul. Is that it?
Yeah, but still, that's a lot there.
That's the whole traitors coop. The whole traitors turret.
Like I said, it's a whole new team now. Like shit.
Yeah, they got to think of other people. But anyways, y'all. There's only 3 more episodes. The last 3 episodes are coming next week. So tune in when we recap the last 3 episodes of the Traitors UK. We're still doing the Traitors US every week. So check out the Traitors US. And we also are covering Big Brother 2 for the BB Rewind segment. So check that out too or whatever. And thank you for keeping it real with the kingdom. We're the fuck out.